let's get started. As I mentioned, my name's Christy. If you don't know me already, it's amazing to really be here with you guys and to be really sharing something that is so deep. I'm so deeply passionate about, and that I live and breathe every single day and have done for the last 5.5 years. So before I really bring Balazs out, I just want to share a little bit about my story, just so you can understand a little bit about how everyday people are creating extraordinary lives with this legacy business model. Basically, 5.5 years ago, I was 4 months away from having my first child. And my husband and I were completely broke. We were putting $5 of fuel in our car at a time, which didn't get us very far. But that's all we had. We had a bit of change. So we're putting that in the car to fill up the fuel. We got evicted from our apartment because we were late in our rent all the time and weeks behind in our rent. I remember one day we went to Officeworks to buy some food, and we had $4 on one card and $5 on another card, and literally had to split that at the checkout. And we bought rice on one card and eggs on another card. So our life was very much, for years, both of us were on this entrepreneurial hamster wheel. About 12 years ago now, I left my corporate job on a quest to really figure out, how do I create my dream life? How do I create freedom? I had read the book, The 4-Hour Workweek. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. One of my favorite books in personal development. And I was like, I realized there was this whole other way out there. We're so taught to go to school and get the good grades and go to university and then get the good job. And so I got the good job. I thought I'd made it. I was earning $65,000 a year. And I was like, wow, this is success. And, and then very quickly into that journey, I realized for me to have a holiday, I have to ask somebody else if I can have a holiday. And then they're going to let me know yes or no. And I was barely on $65,000 a year. And I'm sure many of you can relate to that. You're really barely getting by. It's kind of like, you're just over broke when you have a job. And so I was like super depressed. I was drinking all of the time. I was partying all of the time. I was very lost. I was very much like, I've just done all these years at university to get this good job. And here I am, and I'm completely miserable. And so after I read that book, The 4-Hour Workweek, I couldn't unsee that. I couldn't unlearn that, right? I saw, and I had my mind expanded as to another way of how we can do business and how we can actually create an income. So I left the job, and then, I'd gone on this massive few years of trying to figure it out. I was like, how do I create freedom? And I tried so many different business models. I tried, selling supplements and shakes through a network marketing model to my friends and family. And I was doing launch parties, and no one would turn up. I had a raw food cafe at one point, and I was working 18 hours a day. And I was completely burnt out. So about 1.5 years into that, I literally one day couldn't get out of bed. I was just so burnt out and exhausted. I had stage 5 adrenal fatigue, and I basically had a nervous breakdown. And because I was so exhausted, I was also having suicidal thoughts. And I basically had to shut my cafe, and I moved back home with my parents at 26, completely broke and broken, and really questioning my life and being like, why aren't I further ahead yet? Like, why haven't I been able to crack the code yet of freedom? And my life kind of kept going like that. I was trying coaching models. I was trying this. I was trying that. I was trying to put programs out online. I was like trying all the things, right? Slapping spaghetti on the wall until something would stick. And then 5.5 years ago was when I had this line in the sand moment. And I was like, enough is enough. If I'm going to bring a baby into the world, I am not going to bring a baby into the world with us, always having to try and just get by. We were just getting by day by day. And that wasn't good enough for me. And so we really made a decision to kind of draw a line in the sand. We had one of those like final moments of our journey of like, that's it, not doing this anymore. And we really put it out there. We were like, all right, we're ready. Like, we're really ready to step up. We're really ready to get uncomfortable. We're ready to grow into our highest potential. And we're really ready to create the freedom that we truly desire. And that was when this literally exact business model was very clearly presented in a way that made sense to me, that I could actually achieve what I was looking for in terms of full financial freedom, time freedom, and location freedom. And today I very much live that life. I have done for the last 5 years. I actually became fully financially free within this model within 2 years. And I live an extraordinary life today, you know, very much an everyday person. I have 3 kids now, and I live a life that if you had asked me 6 years ago, 5.5 years ago, it would have been very, very, very different in terms of where I always could see this in my vision. I could always see this in my dream. But the fact that this is actually real now is very, very cool. And I've just actually literally landed back in Australia yesterday after a Dubai trip, a very luxurious Dubai trip. I invested 100K into a 10-day holiday. And, went to all the 7-star hotels and fine dining restaurants and all of the things, traveled first class, and I'm able to give really generously to all sorts of different charities and different things that are, going on, projects and philanthropy projects, etc. I'm able to, do what I want when I want. And it's a real blessing. And so this is something that I live every single day, even though I could be completely retired. I haven't done that. I still show up at masterclasses like this because I'm really passionate about supporting this next wave of leaders to create generational wealth that is willable to their children. And I know that if I was to pass away, my children would be receiving this legacy and this wealth that I've created. So very passionate about getting this out to as many people as possible. And yeah, I'm excited for you guys to hear about this. And I would love to know, before I really pass over to Balazs, why are you here? Let us know into the comment box, why are you here today? So, all right, to level up, I love the impact this business can make. All for that, freedom and impact. Set myself free, ready for change, legacy. Oh my God, the chat's going so quickly. Financial freedom, sick of the cycle. Yeah, got it. Can completely understand. Save the planet. I'm here to learn about legacy to increase my freedom and income. Okay, cool. So very similar values, right? Of really wanting to create more freedom, legacy, impact, contribution, all of these things. All right, we now have 666 people on. How's that for numbers, right? That's pretty cool that are live. We had over 2,000 people register. So a lot of you will also be catching the replay. But for those on live, as I mentioned, we will be having some cash prizes at the end. So stay on right till the end. And we're also going to be doing some other really cool things right at the end of today. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pass over to my mentor, Balazs W. Kardos, who has made the greatest impact of my life. If it wasn't for this man going first, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking about this today at all. And he has created an incredible life. He's the one that kind of went first. And I actually had the opportunity very early into my journey with this over. And I got to stay with Balazs for around 10 days in his home, and really massively up-leveled my life, because I got to see somebody that was the embodiment of really someone who had created wealth, and created not just wealth, but his dream life. And I got to be in that energy and in that environment, and proximity is so important, the environments that we put ourselves into. And so that trip completely changed my life, and really seeing how Balazs lived and does live and what he lives and breathes. And he's been an incredible mentor for me over the last 5.5 years, and so many other people globally. So I would love to bring out Balazs, who's really going to be presenting the legacy business model with you guys today. And I'm going to pop out at the end for all of the goodies at the end. So stay focused during this. Don't be answering phone calls or checking messages or on Facebook. Stay really present so that you can get the absolute most out of this over this next 60 to 90 minutes. Thank you, B.
What is going on, everybody? Can you hear me all right? Awesome. Amazing. Well, on behalf of International Women's Day, I just want to give all of you legendary women on this call and all over the world a huge congratulations to you for all that you do. I'm forever grateful for the women in my life as well. And also the powerhouse KXO, who always brings the heat and really comes from a place of love and wanting to make an impact in your life. And that's why we put these events on, is to really change your life. As she mentioned, her and I and so many other leaders in our community, we're already good. We're set. We don't need to be here. And I say that with love. I don't say that to be a jerk or anything like that. We're really here to make an impact and a difference in your life so that you can unlock a level of freedom that is closer than you think. It is much more attainable than you think right now. based on technology, based on the community, the training, the level of partnership that we have with the opportunity we're going to share with you today. And we want to pass that forward and pay it forward to you. We're at a stage in our lives and a stage in our career where every single day is literally our dream life. And when we wake up in the morning, we feel a sense of gratitude, like, wow, we can't believe that life is so amazing. And how many more people can we share that with? But I want you to also really understand something that's so important is, as Christy shared with her story, it wasn't always like this. When I grew up, I was actually born to immigrant parents in Eastern Europe, in Hungary. And when I was a little boy, my mom and dad wanted to flee the communism that was happening at that time in the early 80s. And they wanted to take our family to the land of opportunity, somewhere where you could work hard, you could put your mind to something, and you could become a person that lives their dreams, whatever that looks like for you and I individually. And so they sacrificed so much, my mom and dad, and left Hungary, and they actually put in their papers to either Australia or Canada for landed immigration. And so many of you on this call today are from Australia, born and raised, or many of you live there. And I could have been an Aussie, immigrated at a young age, but it didn't work out that way for us. Canada accepted us at a young age, and we came over here, and life was really tough. Even though we had this freedom and this opportunity in Canada that we didn't have back in Europe, there was still a lot of challenges because we had no money. We couldn't speak the language. My parents didn't have any formal education or anything that was transferable. They literally just had to build their life from the ground up. And that put a lot of stress, a lot of pressure on our family. And as I was growing up as a kid, like many of you listening right now, there was this really weird energy when it came to money, lack and scarcity. And it always seemed to be causing problems and issues. Like there wasn't enough for this, there wasn't enough for that. And as a young boy, I didn't really know what it meant. All I knew was like something about this felt off. And half of me fucking hated money for the misery it seemed to cause, the pain, the suffering, the arguing, the stress, the exhaustion that I could see on my parents as a little boy before I understood what was really happening. But interestingly, as I grew a little bit older and I was a young teenager in that 10 to 12 years old, this new part of me started to develop where I fell in love with the idea of solving the game of money. So it didn't rule my life and my future family, but rather I was able to crack the code on what did wealthy people do differently? How did they see things differently? What was the access to knowledge and wisdom? And how did they apply that to their life, to their businesses and so on? And I had no clue. All I had was curiosity. I was like, I got to figure this out. They look just like normal, regular people. And they don't look any different. I mean, sometimes, right? But most of the time they look like normal people. I'm like, I got to figure this thing out. So I went on this journey, this quest, and I kept finding these clues that led me one step closer, one step closer. And over the many years, I got fired from 10 jobs by the time I was 25 years old. And my self-worth was really beat up. I had low self-esteem, low confidence because I kept getting fired. So I felt like I wasn't good enough to even have a job. But later, what I realized was that I wasn't actually employable. I didn't take authority very well. I didn't like being told what to do. I like to think for myself. I like to solve problems. I like to grow. I like to do things better and better and better day by day and not be a complacent employee that barely puts in any effort just to get by and not make my coworkers uncomfortable because I'm doing a better job than them. And they're like, yo, dude, tone it down because we're going to get in trouble. We're going to get fired. So I was always a threat to my manager. I was a threat to these businesses and companies that I worked at, but I wasn't looking at it like that at all. I was just like, man, obviously I'm going to try to keep getting better. Isn't that what everybody does? And so it was a really weird thing. And so I got fired from all these jobs. And when I was 20, how old was I? 21, I stumbled into door-to-door straight commission sales. And when I fell into that, what was really interesting about it, it was the first time I ever had a job where I was paid based on performance. I was actually paid more money if I was able to serve and help more people. I wasn't trading my time for money anymore. And it was really scary and very intimidating because there was always that risk that I would make zero. So I could go to work literally all day long. And at the end of the day, I made $0. And that's what scares most people off. But the reality was once I started doing it, those days of me making zero were few and far in between. Most of the time, I actually made double or triple in a single day making sales than I could have at a normal hourly wage job. So what most people focus on is what if it doesn't work? What I started to focus on is what if it does work? And that's what I want to leave you with right now as I get into this presentation, is rather than the fear, rather than the worry of what if this doesn't work for me? What if I can't do this? What if I'm not smart enough? What if I don't have enough experience? Blah, 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 all the what ifs in a negative way. I want you to start thinking about when you see this, like, what if this is the thing for me? What if I can make this happen? What if this is the opportunity to set myself free? And by the end of this presentation, I think you will see that you can do this as well. So with that being said, I'm going to share a little bit more about my health story, my health journey in a moment, but I'm going to pull up a few slides that will assist me in that. So if you guys are pumped and excited and ready to go, let me hear it in the chat. Let me know how you're excited, because this is literally the type of presentation that changes everything for you. Like, after today, you will never look at life again the same. I promise you that much, okay? I can't promise you lots of things, but I can promise you that. So let's get into my slides here, my trusty slides that my team put together for me. They're the best. My little brother is the slide guru. I can't even make this one slide right here. I'm not a tech savvy person, so don't get intimidated by any tech related stuff. Christy can barely turn on her computer half the time and figure it out. We got started today's presentation pretty smoothly, but pretty much every other time we've done this, there's been at least like 7 technical issues. So the greatest business model in the world to create real freedom and impact and legacy. So I already shared a little bit about my story with you, but the part that I didn't share yet is, while all of this was going on, while my parents immigrated to Canada and tried to figure out life in this new world, I was also experiencing some health problems, and my health problems actually had to do with my digestion. How many of you right now on this call, just pop it in the chat, are experiencing some kind of discomfort or some kind of health challenge that you don't really like to talk about? You don't like to share it with people. It's kind of private, maybe a little bit embarrassing, could possibly due to your digestion, going to the bathroom regularly, or not being able to go to the bathroom, or having pain, bloating, discomfort, all these kinds of things. And what I later discovered is that most people actually have some kind of health problems that they just don't tell anybody. So we assume people are okay, we assume people are healthy and all this kind of thing. But if you really dig deep and find out, they're dealing with something. And that was my story when I was a kid. So I was growing up, I always had this bloating, this discomfort, this pain. I couldn't go to the bathroom regularly. I had anything from acid reflux to heartburn to constipation to diarrhea. Like, it was just not working correctly. And I always felt like this gassy feeling where my stomach was going to like explode. You know, it literally felt like I was like a pregnant woman in terms of like the size of my stomach, like 9 months pregnant kind of feeling, but my stomach was actually flat when I looked down, and it was really weird. And I tell my mom, like, oh man, I don't know. It's so uncomfortable. And it was just my normal regular life. And as the years went on, my mom's like, this isn't okay. Something's not right. We got to go take you to the doctor. We have to go find out what's going on. So she would take me to the doctor. The doctor would do all these tests on me, or at the hospital, I went to the emergency numerous times. And every time my tests came back, this is the part that was really weird. They said I was perfectly healthy young boy, like a teenager or whatever. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that health and feeling good are connected. So if I'm in pain, if I'm in discomfort, if I have low energy, if I can't go to the bathroom, how can you tell me at the hospital that I'm perfectly healthy? Something's not adding up for me. So I kept questioning it. My mom kept questioning it. They sent us to specialists, all this, all that, this kind of test, that kind of test. We switched my diet. We switched everything that they recommended, but they kept not recommending one thing. And that's what today's presentation is about. And I'm going to get to that in a moment. But after all that time, it was about a decade of my life of pain, suffering, discomfort over and over and over again, every single day. Finally, it got to the point where the specialists, I saw 3 separate specialists, and they told me, you know what? It's your gallbladder. You have some kind of issue with your gallbladder, but the good news is that you don't really need your gallbladder. We can take it out surgically. And me and my mom were like, I don't know, like, pretty sure you need your gallbladder or else it wouldn't be in our bodies. But they're like, no, you'll be fine, this and that. So after 3 specialists all told me to take out my gallbladder, I listened, I got it out, and I was only 15, 16 years old. And as you can imagine, that's super young. Sometimes people have gallstones or gall issues like much later in life. And even that's not normal and that shouldn't be happening, but it's just kind of the time of everything building up in your system. And then your gallbladder fails you 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. I was 15, 16. It wasn't making sense. My mom was a health conscious person. We didn't eat a lot of junk food or processed food or any of that stuff either. A little bit, yes. It was somewhat of a balanced, normal diet and whatever, but majority, 80% of the time was very health conscious food that we were having. So I got my gallbladder out. 6 months later, for the first 6 months after my surgery, things seemed to be better. And then 6 months later, it all came back. Now it was worse. I was in more pain, more discomfort, even more foods I was sensitive to. And I was really, really let down by this. Like I kind of gave up hope. I was like, man, maybe this is just my life. Maybe these are just the cards that I was dealt. And I tried to look on the bright side. Like, you know what? A lot of people out there have it much worse than me. They have more pain, more challenges with their health. And so this is all right. I can live with it, you know? And I really kind of started to make that feeling of, it is what it is, losing complete hope. But my mom, she's the best. She's like, nah. We're going to figure this out. We're going to keep searching. We're going to find a solution. And you just need to stick with me and keep trying things as I discover new things and so on and so on. I was like, yeah, mom, whatever. So that's what led us to the discovery of this company and this product back in 2008. So as you can tell, I kind of stopped aging 15 years ago. Pretty cool. But that's because of this product as well. And we found this water that we're going to get into tonight, and it completely changed our lives. And I'll get into that a little bit more as well. So then I was in the straight commission, door-to-door sales. Like I told you, was the only job that I could find. And I ended up getting some pretty good results. Like I made like up to, $250,000 a year. I had a little sales team. I was getting paid off of their overrides and stuff. And what I realized was that it was the amateur leagues. Like I was doing okay, but I was very limited with the market. I was limited with the products and services I was selling, the size of my sales team that I could build. Everything had a pretty hard cap. And so I started to transition into like the professional leagues, the major leagues, which is the direct sales industry on a global scale. So I had no limitations. I was able to do whatever amount of income or sales I wanted to, and I could think really big. And so I transitioned into that. But at the beginning, I was doing it very much face-to-face, old school, door-to-door style, because that's what I knew. And what I decided was there's got to be a better way. And just like Christy mentioned with the 4-hour work week, I was looking at what I was doing always, my whole life since I was a little boy. And I would play with toys or I would have a job. And I'd always ask myself, like, could I do this smarter? Could I do it faster? Could I do it more optimized? Could I get a better result with less effort? Can I add more leverage? And my brain literally thinks like that every single day, even right now. I have a baby girl. She's 2 years old, and parenting, as all you parents on this call know, is pretty full on. And I'm constantly cracking the code of like, we could actually move that over there. And that would save me like 5 minutes a day. And I could do this. And it's constantly optimizing, improving. And so that was a blessing and a curse for me at this point. So I went from belly to belly in-person sales to freedom-based online business, which we're going to talk about tonight. I went from the old school to the new school. I've been able to create some pretty incredible results over the past 10 years. So for all of you listening right now, this is probably your first day that you're going to decide to do this with us, because like I said, you'll never see things ever again the same way when we're done today. But I've been doing this as a business for 10 years, okay? So this doesn't happen necessarily overnight. You can get quick results, yes, but this is meant to be a long-term opportunity, a long-term business. You have to think with that longevity to really create the legacy that we're talking about here, and we'll break that down for you in a little bit. So I want to share with you just a couple of pictures here to give you a little bit more context. Coming from the guy who immigrated from Hungary with his parents with no money, some of these luxurious things we've been able to experience literally feel like they're not real life. Being able to lay down on an airplane and sleep is not something a guy like me is supposed to be experiencing. The odds were always stacked against me. So while we're sitting there, my wife and I, she's so beautiful. Look at her face. Wow. But while we're sitting there, on this plane, it's not to show off. It's like, how many of you are listening right now going like, I could never sit at the front of the plane? You know, that's not something that I could do. Yes, you can, because where I come from, this wasn't supposed to be happening for us either. I took my wife on our 10-year anniversary being together to Bora Bora on a super luxurious week-long trip. You know, we did the whole St. Regis thing from the movie, all the things. And it was literally surreal because I had that mountain range that you see there as my desktop screensaver for years. And I was like, I don't even know if this is a real place on earth. Like that's how far-fetched it seemed for me and my wife and my family to ever be able to go there. We went to Egypt and rode camels and saw the pyramids and stuff. And we, you know, jet skiing, luxury villas, helicopters with Clint X. Morgan. That's Christy's husband. He's one of my best friends. He's such an epic dude. Down in Positano. And I could go on and on and on and on with photos, and I could talk about all the materialistic things and the freedom and the lifestyle and the things, but that's not what this is about. I just wanted to give you a little glimpse of what your future could possibly have in store for you as well. This was cool. We actually snuck out onto the top of a hotel's rooftop. We weren't supposed to be there. This isn't like a tourist place to stand. And look at that photo, right? That's the kind of photo you look back on when you're an old grandpa one day being like, yeah, we broke some rules to get that one. So anyways, more importantly than what I've done and what Christy's done and the money we've had and the lifestyle we created, we've done $500 million in sales as an organization collectively in the last 10 years. But it's not about the 500 million. It's about the $300 million that were paid out to people just like you and I. That amount of income is what the company pays back. So out of 500 million, the company has paid us in commissions and bonuses $300 million. Where else do you know of an opportunity where that's the percentage that you get back? You know, there isn't one, because percentages typically in high ticket and real estate and luxury goods is a teeny little amount. And then the big companies keep the majority of the profits. Not here. Here, we get the majority of the profits. We do the majority of the heavy lifting and the hard work. And the company is happy to pay us because that's part of their mission statement is compassion, giving back, and making a difference in your life, my life, all of our lives. It's really, really incredible. So this is your opportunity to cash in on this wave and succeed with us. If you're excited, if you want to know the details, if you want me to break this down for you right now, let me hear it in the chat. Give me a big yes. Give me a big let's fucking go, and let's dive right in. All right. So let's talk about the problems and the challenges that we all face first. Okay. I'm going to go pretty fast here because we do have quite a bit to cover. So excuse me for kind of just jumping through things, but I want to make this high energy and I want to go quickly and I want to give you the best value that I can. So some of the challenges we all face, some simple facts about today's world. Obesity is on the rise, 69% overweight or obese. That's insane, right? That's absolutely insane. 36% obese in USA and similar numbers for Canada and Australia, all right? Food and soil quality is at all-time lows. Chemicals in our food are at all-time highs, and more pollution in our air, our food, and our water. More young people are suffering and dying from preventable illnesses, all right? So what you will learn here today is 70% of the health puzzle. Do not take this lightly. This is game-changing knowledge and information. And as I told you earlier in my story about my own health challenges, we suffered for a decade. Me specifically suffered for a decade because we were focusing on adjusting and tweaking and testing the 30% of the health puzzle. And the 70% was completely ignored. It was ignored by the hospitals, by the doctors, by the specialists, everyone. All right. And so here we are going like, why is nothing working? Why is nothing working? Well, I'm not a mathematician or some kind of wizard, but if you only focus on 30% and 70% is off, pretty sure that's a failing score. You know what I mean? So this is the key that actually unlocks the effort, the energy, the focus that we put into the other 30% to try to be healthy, to take care of our bodies and our families. So let's break this down into three separate categories. The first one is dehydration. All right. 75% of people are chronically dehydrated. There's 747 people on this presentation right now, and 75% of you are dehydrated. It's pretty mind-blowing, right? The body is 60% made of water, and the brain is 73% water. Some of the symptoms of dehydration include dark colored urine, fatigue, migraines, dizziness, confusion, muscle cramps, brain fog, poor sleep. Do you have any of those? Do you know anyone else who has any of those? This is very, very common stuff, okay? But what we do is we try to fix it with other things. And nobody ever talks about, hey, might be the water, might be dehydration, but we're talking about that tonight. Acidosis is the second big one. The blood pH never strays from 7.35 to 7.45 or death occurs. So your body will literally sacrifice itself to keep your blood in that range. And that's why some of our organs will start to go first to preserve life inside of your body. The body will defend this pH range at the expense of tissues, bones, organs, etc. Symptoms of acidosis include heartburn, acid reflux, skin problems, joint inflammation, and many more. Does anybody remember what I said my symptoms were with my stomach issues? Ding, ding, ding. Some of these. All right. Inflammation. Body's attempt at self-protection. This is the next major piece. It becomes chronic if your internal environment cannot flush it away. Chronic inflammation can eventually cause several diseases and conditions, including some cancers, diabetes, arthritis, Alzheimer's, and cardiovascular diseases. So, what is the solution to our hydration needs? Well, let's break it down. What are our choices? What are our options? So first one is municipal tap water. Now, obviously, depending on where you live in the world, we literally have a global audience on this presentation today. The municipal tap water can vary quite a bit in terms of quality. But ultimately, the tap water is coming through pipes like this. And the government doesn't care about you. They don't care about your pipes in your body. They care about not rusting the pipes in the ground. Because if they can avoid fixing it, having the construction crew, blah, 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 that's better for them. It's less work. So it's actually our own responsibility to make sure that we're not consuming this stuff. But just because it looks clear doesn't mean that water is the same. This type of water has rust, chlorine, traces of all kinds of pharmaceuticals, lye, over 200 unregulated chemicals in 45 states in the US. Obviously, this is a little bit different all over the world, but I'm sure it's similar. Now, here's bottled water, the next option. Look at that. Our precious Mother Earth and our oceans are being polluted by plastics unnecessarily, right? It's plastics, it's causing hormone issues, it's an environmental nightmare. One of the things that I learned about 10, 15 years ago about this specifically is that if you go onto Google, for example, and you type in trash vortex, you will see images of the size of Texas floating in the middle of the ocean, all made up mostly of plastic bottles. It's absolutely insane. It's killing our wildlife. It's killing our fish. It's killing our ecosystem. It's not something that we should just be, you know what, no big deal. Let's keep consuming bottled water. Let's keep consuming things in plastic bottles. It is something that we should probably not add to the problem. You know what I mean? 50 billion plastic bottles produced each year, and 80% of them end up in landfills and our ocean. Like, this is a major, major problem, okay? So one of the things that a lot of people don't think about, they don't realize when it comes to bottled water, is that it gets transported from all over the world in plastic on plastic on plastic. Then it gets left out in the hot sun on the middle of the tarmac at an airport. It bakes the chemicals from the plastic into the water, boils it even in some cases. Then it cools down. Then it sits in some warehouse. Then it goes to some store, and then you get it. And then you drink it and you give it to your children and you give it to your family, and you think that you're doing a good job because you're not choosing the Coca-Cola, you're drinking the water, which, yes, in theory is a better decision. However, this is not the answer. All right. So the regular water cannot solve our issues. It cannot solve the chronic dehydration, the acidosis, and the inflammation. So what is the solution? Who wants to pop it in the chat here and let me know if you want to know the answer, the solution to these problems? Light it up in the chat. Let me know. Pop a yes in there, and I'm going to break it down for you real fast. Hydrogen-rich electrolyzed reduced water, and the manufacturer is called Enagic, and the brand is called Kangen Water. Now, before I continue, I just want to highlight something that's really, really, really important for all of you who are discovering and hearing about this for the first time. When you do scientific studies on anything, you cannot do a scientific study on a manufacturer or a brand, okay? You have to do a scientific study on the scientific terminology for that particular thing. So all the research that you could find, which there's a lot of, that supports the validity of the science behind this product, behind this water, is all based around hydrogen-rich electrolyzed reduced water. That's like the official name for it. But the company that makes this technology, these machines, is called Enagic. And I'm going to talk about Enagic in a moment and break down why they're literally the best. They're the leading in this space. And then Kangen Water is the brand name, which actually stands for return to origin in Japanese. All right. So it's very important to distinguish the few, because sometimes people will do research or try to do their due diligence, which is totally fine, but they're searching the wrong thing and then they're getting the wrong information and then they're making up their minds with the wrong decision, not an educated decision. All right. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. So let's get into this real quick. Remember the 3 problems we discussed? This water has 3 amazing features and benefits to it, and it literally counteracts the 3 major problems that we experience with our health and our bodies. So this machine and this water provides you with antioxidation, alkalization, and absorption. All right. Now, the company itself, this is very important when you want to plant your flag, when you want to build a legacy business, which is why you're all here tonight, is like, who's the company? Who are we partnering with? Why can this be something I can will to my children and feel comfortable that it's going to be around for a long time? This company is 49 years old. Okay. They're going to be celebrating their 50th anniversary next year. I've been with this company as a customer for 15 years. So they were 35 years old when we found it. And I've been building it as a business for the last 10. All right. And I'm going to be here my whole life. And that's no exaggeration. I'm never leaving. I'm never stopping. This is my thing because of what it did for me with my health, what it's done for me with in terms of my lifestyle, my wealth creation, and my impact on all of you and so many others. All right. So what's important about this company is they don't mess around. They're an original equipment manufacturer in a medical facility, the highest of the high standards. They produce all of their own products. All of the machines are hand assembled by a technician, like a Rolls-Royce vehicle would be. And then it's shipped out to you. Last year in 2022, they did over $1 billion in sales. So it's not a startup. It's not a baby company. It's not something that we're still trying to prove if it's a good thing. Like, this is way, 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 way past that. All right. They're number 1 in the entire water ionization industry. They control about 80% of the market share. And the other 20% are all the shit talkers that are basically trying to steal customers from us by saying things that are not true. And funny thing about that is that when my mom first did research on this, she finally figured out that, wait a second, water is something that we overlooked with all of my health problems for over a decade. So as she started reading some books and taking matters into her own hands, because she was really mad at the doctors who pulled out my gallbladder, and then it's like, sorry. It's like, what do you mean sorry? My son's missing his gallbladder. That's not all right. So she got mad and was like, let me take matters into my own hands. Let me do my own research. So she started reading all these books, right? And what she discovered during this learning process is that all these doctors, naturopaths and so on, the top of their game, we're all talking about the importance of the quality of water that we drink and how much water we drink. And not all water is created equal. And she's like, water. So as she did her research online, she actually found a website that was talking shit about Enagic, saying it's overpriced, it's snake oil, it's a scam, whatever, a lot of negative stuff. But at the very bottom of the website, they were trying to sell their own machine for like a couple grand, whatever. And what we discovered, like, I'm so grateful that my mom was able to go, wait a second, why would you build out a whole entire website bashing this company blatantly and then selling your stuff at the bottom? You only compare yourself to the industry leader. You only compare yourself to the best, right? If you were the best, you wouldn't have to talk shit about anybody else. So I'm so grateful that my mom had that insight and awareness, and it didn't let her, stop her. So anyways, that's how we found out about this. So 20% of the market is trying to steal the reputable things that we got going on with this company. All right. They have offices all over the world. This was one of the really big selling points for me on the business side of things, because like I mentioned to you, I was successful in a door-to-door local market. I was selling internet and TV services up in Canada, Western Canada, and the market share was like 10% when I started, and it was like 85% by the time I was done with my sales team 4 years later. So I'm like, we're going to spend 85% of our day talking to existing customers that we can't sign up for internet and TV and make no money. So it just didn't make sense. When I found out that this company was global, we could literally build it anywhere on the planet. They had offices all over the world. There was no limitations. That got me excited. And I knew I could build it forever because there's 8 billion people on the planet that we can help. And that's a lot of people. It's going to take a while, you know? They're also part of the member of the Direct Selling Association, which is important. It's a credible organization where they make sure that we're operating with integrity, transparency, all those things that I want to align myself with if I do business with anybody, right? Integrity, character, all those things are very important to me. And so we got a great track record there as well. So another really powerful thing is that they have numerous awards and certifications. They're the only company in the water ionization space that has a WQA gold seal, and it's the only one certified as a medical device in Japan. Now, I want to mention this because we have a global audience, that it isn't a certified medical device in every country all over the world, but the machine itself is exactly the same. So I want you to just take a moment and add one and one together. Are human beings, our DNA, and the importance of water across the world the same? Yes. So do you think if it's a medical device in one country and they don't change how they build it, they don't change the parts, that it's probably a medical device in every other country? Yeah. So you got to read between the lines here a little bit. But the point is that it is certified there in the medical, as a medical device. And they've been selling them all over the world, and they've been often imitated and never duplicated. So like I said, I've had my machine for 15 years. I take it in once a year to the office here in Vancouver, BC, Canada. They take it apart. They do a deep clean on it, and it works exactly the same way, same high quality water. It does all the same things for 15 years. You know what I mean? And that's like my own machine. That's not something I saw on the internet. So it's pretty amazing. So Nagic has 3 main products that we deal with, that we focus on, and they all solve a little bit of a different issue that we all need in our lives. So the 3 amazing products to deal with root causes of illness, so we can be happy, fit, and most importantly, healthy. These are the 3 products. We call this the GPM trifecta. There's a whole story behind this as well that I can share with you guys another time. But ultimately, the water machine that you see there, the K8, it is what you use for pretty much everything in day-to-day life. You use it for cooking, cleaning, disinfecting, drinking. It's the most used physical device or product that we own. The only other thing I might use as much as maybe my watch or my phone in terms of day-to-day use. But this thing, like, we're using it constantly, okay? Think about how often you use water in your life for everything from cooking, cleaning, all the things, right? We use a lot more water than we think, but if we use this machine for all those purposes, you get way better benefits. Then the thing that is often overlooked is we also need to bathe, right? I don't know about you, but I bathe like once or twice a day. Some people less, it's fine, but it's pretty important to be clean, to take a shower, to have a bath, so on and so on. So the Nespa is like your own mineral bath in your home. And then this product here is a supplement called the Kangen Ukon turmeric supplement. If you do your own research on curcumin or turmeric, it is literally like nature's most prized antioxidant ever. There's like 6,000 research studies done on it. The government even tried to make this an over-counter prescription, and they declined it and said, no, you cannot turn nature's gold into pharmaceutical. Sorry. And they got denied, thankfully, which is really amazing. So the machine itself is patented. Now, anytime you're dealing with technology, it's pretty important to have a patent because you're protected, right? There's always going to be the haters and people trying to knock you off and steal your stuff or whatever. Patented, we're good, we're protected. 8 titanium plates double dipped in platinum. As you know, titanium, platinum, they're both pretty expensive, which is reflected in the price of the machine as well. Well-maintained machines last 20 to 25 years. I'm almost at the 20-year mark, so I believe it 100%. It's fact, it's true. My machine works that long. The CEO of Enagic, who's 81 years old, he's had his machine for almost 30 years, working just the same way. He purposely will not replace it to our newer machine because he wants to see how long this thing lasts. Like 30 years. Epic. This particular machine called the K8, it also has a worldwide power source, which is so cool. Once you own this, you won't want to travel the world without it. So then you get into the whole challenge of like, well, different countries, different continents, they use different power supplies. And Enagic sells this replacement plug that you can unplug from the back, replace it with the plug of the country you're visiting to for like 10, 15 bucks. You take the machine with you. I know it sounds crazy to travel with something like this in your carry-on or your backpack, but I promise you, you start drinking this water for a while, you're like, yeah, I got to take my machine. That's just facts, right? We become kind of water snobs in a good way because we just know the difference of how we feel with this water versus any other kind of water. It has a 5-year bumper to bumper warranty. The last thing here is just like a power thing. It's a techie thing, but the point is it's super powerful and it makes amazing quality water. This next thing here is really important because society talks a lot about anti-aging, antioxidants, but a lot of people don't actually understand how. Why? What's the difference between an oxidizing beverage or oxidizing food versus a non-oxidizing or antioxidizing food? And how we can measure that is called the ORP scale, all right? Oxidation reduction potential. There's actually a little device you can purchase on like something like an Amazon or online or at a local store that sells pool supplies for your backyard pool, stuff like that. And you can measure it and dip it in to see what the rating on the scale is. And what's really, really, really crazy when people first hear about this is that when they're drinking bottled water or tap water, they think they're doing the healthy thing. They're like, well, I'm not drinking juice, I'm not drinking pop, I'm not drinking energy drinks or coffee or whatever, which is technically right. But the problem is that the ORP is so positive that it's accelerating the aging process. It's accelerating your oxidation in your body. So when you cut an apple in half and you leave it out on the counter and you come back after 10, 15 minutes, what color is the apple? It starts to go brown. That's like our cells. That's like our bodies. That's like our skin. So when we consume bottled, purified, reverse osmosis, distilled water, sports drinks, soda, tap water, basically all the things that we would consider are like the better options, we're dramatically on the positive side of the scale. So then when we get into antioxidants, you know, some people make an effort to drink like green tea, for example, or consume blueberries or vegetables or these things. But the issue becomes how many pounds of vegetables, how many pounds of these things do you need to consume to hydrate 70% of your body weight? Can you eat like 10 kilograms of blueberries a day, right? It becomes kind of ridiculous. Like, of course I can't. So what's so amazing about this product and this water is that as you get to the negative side of the scale, Kangen water is negatively charged. And so it has a free radical, which I'll talk to you in a second. But what it does is it actually hydrates your body. So as long as you consume the right amount of water per day for your body weight, which is a little technical, but you'll learn about that later, you're slowing down the aging process, quite literally. And if you look at people who got started with this company, who got this product in their life, and you look at photos on their Facebook, including myself, and you go back in time to when they didn't drink the water, and then you fast forward to now, you will notice that you will think that it's reverse in terms of their aging. The younger photo is much older than the photo where they look older. It's opposite. This is the reason why, all right? So one of the settings on the machine, it actually produces 7 different types of water. And when I say types, I'm specifically referring to the pH of that particular water. One of them out of the 7 is this one, 2.5 pH acidic water, and it's specifically called hypochlorous acid. Now, I want you to look at this little chart real quickly and think about how valuable it would be to have a machine in your life, in your kitchen, hooked up that makes infinite amounts of water that can solve those specific things on that list. You literally turn on the machine, press one button on the 2.5 acidic setting, water comes out, and you can use it for these things. Unlimited quantities. You can give it to your family, you can give it to your neighbor, you can do whatever you want. Like, it's pretty wild. And it kills 99% of germs and bacteria within 30 seconds of contact. In a lab, proven. It's not made up. This is like factual stuff. It can be used for numerous purposes in health and home. It's non-toxic. Amazing, right? We're getting into a time where more and more people are non-toxic living focused, and they want to do their best to protect their health, protect their environment, protect their family. It's eco-friendly. So like you could use this to clean your let's say like your toilet or your bathroom or something like dirty like that in your house. And if the kids or the pets got their hands on this water and drank it, nothing would happen to them. At the end of the day, still water, and it has none of those side effects, which is really crazy. And you can create it for pennies per liter. All right. It's safe to use on kids and pets. Now, the next product is called the Inespa machine. Like I said, this is a mineral ion spa shower system. It removes harmful chemicals, contaminants, and toxins from your water. Powerful magnets, restructures the water, remineralizes the water. It's amazing. This is the supplement. We already talked about it. It's literally the most incredible supplement. Organic turmeric from Enagic-owned fields. They control the land. They control everything that gets put onto the turmeric fields. It's all organic. It's 100% plant-based, organic, non-GMO, vegan. I mean, I'm telling you, this is like the gold out there, okay? Now, let's just assume that there was no business for a second, right? We're going to get into the business in one moment. And I know I'm taking a little while, but I really want to emphasize that we're not selling like dog shit here. Like, we're selling like epic stuff. We're selling epic products that are literally life-changing. And that's why we're able to create a legacy business, all right? If the product sucked and they didn't do anything for people's lives, there would be no business here. This company wouldn't be around for 5 decades. It's very important that we talk about this stuff. The average household can save $50 to $200 per month just by simply getting these products in their lives. And that's not talking about business. That's not talking about tax write-offs or any of the other benefits. Just simply on reducing or eliminating some of the things that are on this photo. And in different countries, these brands maybe don't exist, but you have something similar and it would replace that stuff. So that's already epic. So real quick question. I'm going to stop the screen share so I can see the chat also. But this is a no-brainer, guys. You know, if you haven't already figured it out, if you haven't already come to that conclusion, based on what you just learned, these are simply no-brainer products that you should invest in for yourself and your family, right? Comment in the chat, yes, if you agree with that statement. Based on the obvious health struggles of the population at large, this also represents an enormous opportunity, right? Let's get into it. So I'm going to check the chat real fast and just make sure everybody on the call agrees that these products are freaking epic and they are a game changer. And yes, you should own them. And when you see the compensation of how you could be rewarded for sharing this with other people and changing their lives, it becomes like a quantum no-brainer or something epic like that. All right. So it's pretty much a unanimous yes across the board, which is so true. And I'm going to get back to my slides now because I don't want to take up too much of your time. Hopefully you're not bored. Hopefully you don't rather wish you were watching Netflix or scrolling on your Instagram or doing something different. And this is super valuable for you. So I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. And I'm not going to take a second longer than I need to really communicate the impact that I want to have on your life with Christy and all of the people who invited you here today. Okay. So this is not me just liking to listen to myself talk. This is me literally wanting to tell you all the information that you need to know so you can make an educated decision. All right. Let me move the chat over there. All right. So we already determined this is a yes. Now it's time to talk about the business. Who wants to know how the business side works? Let me know in the chat right now if you want to understand how we do this. And trust me when I tell you, this is epic. All right. So let's talk about some other challenges first. We already established we have a lot of problems in society when it comes to health and wellness and the way that the world is going with the government stuff and the chemical stuff and all that, right? But we face just as many issues, if not more issues, on the financial side of our lives. You know, the ability to feel like we're on this never-ending hamster wheel. We got to just keep working harder and harder and harder. And these are the facts about today's world. Mental health issues are on the rise, especially the last couple of years. The amount of people who just got pushed to the brink of like, they just can't handle shit anymore. It's just too hard. I feel for these people. Trust me, I've had it really hard and tough in some ways too, but at least I didn't have the financial issues. At least I didn't have the time freedom issues. I just had the human issues of like, just being a human is tough sometimes, you know? But if we can alleviate the financial stuff, we can alleviate the quality time that you don't have with the people you love and the things you want to do. Trust me, it's much easier to cope with some of the struggles and challenges of life. Poverty is increasing and the wealth gap is widening. I'm sure that if you went to a grocery store in the last couple of years, the prices just keep going up for the same thing. But is your income going up? Did your boss give you 100% raise because the inflation is, you know, unadjusted about 100% on certain products. Like you know, your milk and your eggs and some of these staples are pretty much double. You know, I eat a lot of red meat, like grass-fed steaks and things like that. I'm like, am I buying like a luxury, you know, steak? It just, the prices have gone insane. And it's becoming something that the average person's like, no, that's like a delicacy. I could eat steak maybe once a year for like a birthday party or something like that. It's not cool. And that's just the basic stuff. We're not even talking about travel, hotels, airfare, living life, enjoying it, going out and, you know, really experiencing the best that there is to experience. There's an increasing threat of job loss due to automation and AI. I don't know if you've been living under a rock, but if you haven't, the last few months, you know, something by the name of AI has just started coming out, and it is accelerating the ability to replace the redundancy in a lot of work, a lot of jobs. And what we do is protected from that, which I'm going to get to in a minute, because the community, the human element to it is what we focus on here, and that's going to become more valuable. All right. There's rampant inflation and ever-increasing government spending. As you can tell, the government has a pretty cool little thing where they can print money. Wouldn't it be nice if we could print money and just had a little thing in your office and you press the button, you're like, I need $1 million to, you know, that's what the government does. This is the closest thing that we know of where we can print money with a business model, a legacy business model, which we're going to talk about the financial side in a second. The cost of owning a home, having a child going up more than ever. It's becoming cost prohibitive for many. I've heard so many younger people recently being like, I don't know if we're going to have kids. I don't think we can afford it. And that like breaks my heart. My daughter is the greatest joy in my life. And for me to not choose to be a dad or not start a family for financial reasons instead of the love and joy that I could experience, I'm like, that's heartbreaking and that's not okay. And it's not happening on my watch, which is why I'm here delivering this information for you. Check this out. For some of you who may not know this, $100,000, this is US figures, by the way, but it's pretty much the same across the board. $100,000 salary in 1980 would need to be inflation adjusted for $343,000 in 2022. So if you're focusing on making $100,000 a year, what you really should be focusing on as a minimum is $343,000 a year if you want to live the way people lived on $100K in 1980. Pretty freaking insane, right? But most people don't actually understand this. So they're like 100K, 100K, 100K. It's like, no. Go try to buy a supercar and you'll notice that it's like double what it was a few years ago, you know, just that. And that's obviously like an extreme example, but I want one. You probably want one. So we need to figure out a way to do it, right? A salary sure isn't what it used to be. So let's get into something that literally is the backbone of me becoming a free man. All right. And I know it's a pretty big statement. And then some of you have probably seen this before at some point. This is not my creation. This is from someone named Robert Kiyosaki. I'm sure you probably heard his name before. He wrote a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But I added something to this about 10 years ago 10 years ago, when I first started with this particular business model that allowed people to understand this better. Instead of it just being this, which is what you may have seen already, I'm going to share with you part 2, which is my own interpretation of this. So I'm going to break this down really, really fast. So the basis of this, for those of you who don't know and have never seen this before, is that you're in one of these 4 quadrants, or sometimes more than one at the same time. And the majority of the population today, okay, 95% of people on this planet are on the left-hand side of this. They're either an employee or they're self-employed. And what's really, really interesting about this, that I want to make sure that you carefully listen to the words I'm about to say, is that those 95% of people, they share 5% of all the money that is in circulation out there, okay? So imagine there was a large pizza at a birthday party and we cut out a slice that was only 5% of that pizza. And we cut that up with 95% of the people that were there at the birthday party. And then one person came and ate the other 95% of the pizza. You know, you'd probably be pretty fucking pissed off, right? To be completely honest, you'd be like, this is messed up, man. I'm never coming to this birthday party again. And that's how the world operates today. And some people get mad and some people get pissed off and some people point the finger and they play the victim card and it's not fair and it's not that. That's not how I look at it. I look at it like, well, how do I get to the other side where only 5% of people are hanging out and they share 95% of all the money, which is on the right-hand side. So on the left-hand side, you have a job. This is normal. And if you have one now, this is not meant to make you feel bad. It's not meant to make you feel small, nothing like that. I came from here too. My parents came from here too. This is where most people get started. That's the normal reality, but it's our job to progress, and most people, they progress from the employee, then they go down to the S. And what's interesting about going from the E to the S is that we think we're becoming business owners, right? We're like, oh, I'm self-employed. Look at me go. I'm in control of my calendar. I'm in control of my schedule. I call the shots. I'm a big boss. But what actually ends up happening is that whatever self-employed thing you start ends up owning you. And it takes up all of your time, not 40 hours a week. We're talking 80 hours, 100 hours a week. You're working like a dog. You're wearing all the hats. You're making even less money, maybe a little bit more money, but way less of your time. And you usually get stuck here. This is a major, major issue, is that people in this place are like, I can't even get out because I'm working 10, 12 hours a day. I barely have time to eat. I barely have time to sleep. I barely have time for my family, my children. How the fuck am I going to start a business? How am I going to learn something new? How am I going to go back to school? How am I going to start a side hustle? So it's a very much like you're barely surviving and you're sinking, right? It's a very difficult place to be. And if you're in straight commission sales, that is also where salespeople are, in that bottom right-hand corner, because even though you can make good commissions, you're still on this never-ending treadmill of you only eat what you kill. And if you don't close new business, you don't make no more money, right? And that's where I was in door-to-door. I made good money, but I had to show up every day. I had to recruit more people into my sales force. I had to train them. Then I had to do this. Then I had to do that. There was no taking time off because my sales would collapse. My income would dry up and I'd be done. So here's the key, all right? There is a line through the middle of this page right here that is separating the left-hand side from the right-hand side. And the key to get to the other side, all right? Have you ever heard that expression that goes, have you ever, how does it go? It goes, think outside the box. Have you ever heard somebody say that to you before? Think outside the box. Let me know in the chat. Yes. People say it all the time. Think outside the box, think outside the box. And what my question is how do you know if you're in the box? If the box is normal and everyone else is doing it and you're in the box and it's invisible, how do you know if you're in the box, right? And my perspective is that the only way you know if you're in the box is if someone comes and reads you the instructions on how to get out of the box. So they knock on the box and they go, hey, you want to get out? You want to come to the right-hand side of this quadrant? Let me show you the way. Let me give you the master keys. This is how it works. And that's what we're doing with you right now. We're literally reading you the instructions on how to go from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. Now, what we're talking about with the legacy business model is the B quadrant. You own a system and people work for you. But the difference is that they don't work for you literally. You work with them side by side. You partner. If they win, you win. If you help them win, you win. So it's very much directly connected. And I'm going to get into that in a moment. And then finally, when you increase your monthly cash flow, your residual income, it keeps going up and up and up and up. Then you have disposable income to start investing it into other asset classes. It might be real estate. It might be stocks. It might be other things you're interested in. It might be other businesses or passion projects. But the point is that you want to get your monthly cash flow to be so big that it's way more than you need to live really well. And then you have this repetitive 30-day boom, boom, boom. And we can't make income claims and stuff like that. But I just got my monthly bonus this morning, deposited into my account, and it was a lot of money. That's all I can really say. But I want that for you too. All right. So now let's break down the key here. The key is what is the difference? This is what I was telling you about when I was a kid and I was trying to figure it out. Like, what's the difference between wealthy people? What's the difference between those people that have freedom? What's the people that are living their dreams? And what I realized was it was real simple. You and I were very similar. We're both human beings. We both need to drink 70% water to survive. We need to eat food. We need to sleep. We have all these similarities as human beings, right? And we also have another thing in common, our mindset, our brains, our ability to think. And so the people who are rich and wealthy and free, they have a different set of information. They have a different amount of a different type of mindset that they're applying to their life. And so what the difference is the people on the left-hand side, they're negative. Okay. They're the type of people that are always talking about what's wrong with their life. They're bitching, they're moaning, they're complaining, they're negative, they're a downer energy, they're a taker energy. And you just don't like to be around these people. But there is a chance that you might be one of these people right now. When I used to work in a regular job on like the lunch break or the coffee break, it would basically be a bunch of people standing around drinking a coffee, complaining about their life. And I did it too. I joined in on it. I'm like, yeah, my life sucks too. What about you? Yeah, your life sucks. Yeah. Oh, it's almost 5 o'clock. It'd be so nice to go get stuck in traffic. Yeah, fuck traffic. That was like the daily conversation. It was brutal. And so once I broke out of that, I'm like, how do people talk about that stuff every day? It's crazy. So the left-hand side is negative. The other thing that is really consistent across the board on the left-hand side is closed-minded. They tend to think that they know it all. They tend to think that they don't need to grow. They don't need to learn. They don't need to read books. They don't need to become a better person. That whatever information they've gathered and collected up until like early adulthood, that's it. It's the end of the line. This is just what I know. This is what I understand. And I'm always going to be this person. That's very, very common on the left-hand side as well. Another thing is that they're problem-focused, okay? The problem-focused person can find a problem for every solution. You know what I mean? It's like you're sitting there trying to solve it, and they're like, yeah, I know, but there's also this problem. And you're like, cool, here's a solution for that. Yeah, I know, I hear you, but there's this problem over here too. There's this problem over here too. It's like the never-ending thing of problems. You're like, man, just focus on the solutions for once. My goodness, right? They're easily distracted. They do the scrolling thing. They do the Netflix thing. And there's nothing wrong with social media. There's nothing wrong with Netflix, but I think there's something wrong with it when it replaces your purpose, when it replaces the skill to set your family free and you're doing it instead of that. Once you're free, once you're wealthy, once you're rich, yeah, sure, watch Netflix all you want. You get paid anyways, but there's a season of your life, maybe the distractions are actually what's killing your dreams. And I probably would suggest to think about something else you can prioritize. You listen to the wrong people. This is a major one, right? You get presented with this opportunity. You don't know who I am. Fair enough. I'm just some dude on the internet with some fancy blue lights and glasses on. You don't know me. So you're going to go back to ask your Uncle Joey, hey, Uncle Joey, what do you think about this opportunity that I watched this 2-hour presentation on? And Uncle Joey's going to say, it's a scam. That's bullshit. And what you need to keep in mind, though, is does Uncle Joey have the life that you want? Do you want to trade places with Uncle Joey in every area? Financial, relationships, physical body, marriage, children, all the things. And if the answer is no, then you probably shouldn't listen to people you love and respect for certain advice on how to set yourself free. Does that make sense for everybody? Let me know in the chat if that makes sense. The next thing that they're doing on the left-hand side is they're always waiting and they're never acting or taking action. So this is the classic person who comes to a presentation like this and then comes up with the reasons why now's not a good time. It's winter, it's almost spring, or it's summer, it's almost this, or it's this person's birthday coming up this weekend, or I'm supposed to go on this trip and whatever. And there's always something. There's always something for the reason to not take action now, right? And then the final thing, which is the major catalyst, is that I can't. I can't because I don't know how. I can't because I'm old. I can't because I'm young. I can't because I don't have money. I can't because I don't have time. I can't because blah, blah, blah. I can't. It's their belief, it's their attitude, and it's anchored into all of their decisions, or I should say lack of decisions in their life. All right. So this was me. So for just for the record, for everybody listening right now, when I first discovered this and wrote this down, I'm like, what is up with this? This was me. But all I needed was the desire to understand how to get to the other side, the process of personal growth and development, to understand myself more, to focus on things that I wasn't focusing on, to prioritize new things, to shift things in my mind and go, I was actually really fucking negative. And then on the right-hand side here, hold on a second, I got to move my Zoom stuff so I can see the list. Damn it. Still can't see. Tech issues, guys. Tech issues. Here we go. So the right-hand side, to shift over here, you got to start being the opposite. Now, here's the thing that blew my mind when I first realized this. If the left-hand side is 95% of the population and they share 5% of all the money, and the right-hand side is 5% of the population and they share 95% of the money, I was like, their mindset must also be an exact mirror opposite too. And so I'm like, this is what is resonating on the left. This is the truth on the left because I lived it. So I know this is true. So what if all I did was tried out the opposite? What if I went from negative to positive and I just started being more grateful and focusing on the greatness and the goodness in my life, even when I had problems? What if instead of being closed-minded, I got humble and I realized that there's no possible way that I know everything I need to learn? There's people smarter than me out there who want to serve me, who want to help me, who want to guide me. Have an open mind, discover new things. Wow, what a game changer. Then I went from problem focused to solution oriented. And funny enough, my wife sometimes gets mad at me because she's like, I don't want a solution. I just want you to listen. So it's not always a good thing. All right. Not with the wifey, but most of the time it's a great thing. But it's like solution oriented is like, you tell me a problem, I got 5 solutions immediately because I've trained my mind to look for the ways to overcome stuff instead of getting stuck and dwelling on the things that are the way they are, right? The things that we can't control. So what? Figure it out, solve it, come up with solutions, get resourceful, think outside the box. Again, and that saying is powerful. Easily distracted, stays focused. The truth is that some people won't tell you this, but I will. I'm the mentor that tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, okay? The truth is that you must be focused on creating freedom in your life. There is no laxy-daisy way of making this happen. You can't kind of sort of put a little effort in. It has to be laser focused. That's the key to setting yourself free. If you don't give a shit, if it's not the most important thing to you, you won't create it. That's the facts, okay? Then you have to listen to people with results. Now, some people have results in some things, and you should only listen to them based on a track record of success and results that they have. All right. The next piece here is always taking action. I just launched a podcast, by the way. This is my shameless plug for all of you listening. It's called The Diamond Life Mentor, available across all platforms. Please go listen and rate it and give me 5 stars. But I just launched a podcast March 1st, literally a week ago. And I fucked up so many times already. Okay. The audio was off. The video was off. This was off. This mistake was off. And you can literally see it on my YouTube channel. The colors are different in my cameras. There's all these problems. Now, I took action and I'm figuring it out as I go. I'm not sitting here waiting for the perfect time, waiting for the perfect everything, waiting till I'm a podcasting master, because that's not how it works. I have to take action. I have to do it. I have to take a step forward and I learn, I do better next time and so on. So people on the right-hand side are always taking action. They're always assessing how they could do better. They're always growing and they always do a better job. And then finally, the last point here is a real simple shift in how you talk to yourself, how you look at things. And you just ask yourself, all right, I may not have the money in this exact moment. It's not sitting here in a drawer ready for me to start a business potentially, but how can I come up with it? How can I get resourceful? How can I get creative? Who do I need to ask? Who do I need to make a strategic deal with? You know, do I go to the bank? Do I get a loan? Do I sell my car? Do I sell my boat? Whatever, doesn't matter. How can I? How can I make the time? I know I'm busy. I know I have responsibilities. I know I have a busy schedule. How can I move things around slightly? Maybe get some more help with the kids. Maybe grandma comes an extra day of the week if you're lucky and fortunate to be in that position. Whatever, doesn't matter. And you're like, how do I move things around to make the time, make the space, come up with the money, find a way? And then everything starts to fall into place. Not after. You have to do that first, then everything else falls into place. Does this make sense? So from you to go to the left-hand side to the right-hand side, it starts with shifting your mindset first from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. Is this making sense for everybody? Is this valuable? Are you learning something new? I want to make sure I'm leaving you with massive amounts of value, whether you join us in business or not. I want you to walk away today and be like, wow, I do not see life the same as I did before this presentation. All right, let's move on. So basically at the bottom, there's a little note there. If you relate more with the right half mindset. Oh, wait, sorry. If you relate more with the right, geez, totally butchering this part of the presentation. If you can't tell, it's all good. I'm going to figure it out. All right. Man, this, like shit. All the tech issues, bro. Here we go. All right. So what do you look for in an opportunity? So now we basically determined the 4 sides of the quadrant. All right. Now you're probably thinking, all right, maybe I'm on the left-hand side of the quadrant and I need to find a way to build a bridge. All right. To get me from where I am right now to ultimately where I want to be. Now, the bridge is the key, because if you're busy with your job, which all of you, I'm sure, have some form of income that you're committed to, right? That's just how it goes. You probably have a family. You might have some children. You're a busy person. You know, you don't have just like all this time and money necessarily sitting there waiting for this. So if you have this thought, okay, how do I build a bridge from the life that I have today to the life that I want to create? What am I going to look for in an opportunity? So one of the things that I've looked at is that people on the left-hand side are thinking in an old school way. They want to have a startup for their business, whereas people on the right-hand side would rather work with a well-established legacy company. The people on the left-hand side are thinking local. I live here in this town. How can I get a local business, job, self-employed gig? People on the right-hand side, global, thinking big. How can I make an impact? No restrictions, doesn't matter. People on the left-hand side, hands-on, right? They have the belief like, if I'm not doing it, no one can do it as good as me, and I got to do it, and no. So they're very much stuck in this limitation of their own capability. That's why a lot of people make the excuse, I don't have the experience, I don't have the skill, I don't know what to do. But it's too much I. You're missing the fact that there's a team element and support and community and all these other things that you could actually work with. So people on the right-hand side are focusing on automation and focusing on leverage. The left-hand side people are thinking, oh, I need customers. Let me go try to sell to my friends and family and hitting them up and trying to sell them shit, which, by the way, pop it in the chat if you absolutely do not want to do that and sell to your friends and family to make money. Who does not want to do that, right? Because nobody is excited for that. The only people who do that are the people who are willing to hustle, and they have that like, they're like, you know what, if that's what it's going to take, if I just have to ask every single person that I've ever met in my life to be successful and to create freedom for my family, fine, I'll do it. I don't want to do it. It doesn't feel good, but you know what? I'm not going to make excuses. I'm going to fucking do that, right? That's why people do it, is because they're just like, I don't really know a better way. But what if you can do it based on attraction marketing? What if you could do it based on running ads and people put a hand up and say, I want to work with you. I want to know what you have. Now, if you think about how you got here to this presentation today, how did you get here? Did you see a post on Facebook? Did you put your hand up? Did you comment for more info? Did you see an ad? Did you see a link? Most likely, yes, unless it was some other established relationship where it made sense. But most of you saw it on social media. You were on there for a different reason. There was an ad or a post or something that had some copy, had some description talking about what we're going to be sharing today. And you said, you know what? I want that. I want to go check it out. It's free. Let's see what it's about. And you commented and you reached out, and it was you took the first step. That's attraction marketing. Next piece here is like you feel like you're all alone. One of the biggest things about being successful is that when you first start, you feel lonely because no one else in your life typically has big goals and ambitions and aspirations like you do. So it feels very weird because you're going against the grain all of a sudden. You're like, fuck the 9 to 5, fuck the average life. I don't want this anymore. I want more. But everyone around you is like, I don't. It's all right. You know, you want to watch the game on the weekend, have a beer. They don't give a shit. So you're like, oh man, it's like, it's pretty deflating. But on the right-hand side with us, there's a supportive community. We're all in this together. We all have similar aspirations and goals and dreams. We support each other. We cheer each other on. We pick each other up if something goes sideways. If you need support, if you feel like you're stuck, you reach out to us. And within like minutes, there's like hundreds of people who are like, you got this. I've been through that. Here's what you can do. Here's the help. You want to hop on a call? Can I support you? It's incredible. It's so cool. And there's thousands of people all over the world who think this way and are super servant-based leaders to help you. It's unbelievable. All right. Let's talk about Enagic. Wow, that was quite the lead up, guys. I'm going to get in so much trouble, I think. Like Christy's going to say, like, this was way too long, Balazs. You should have got right to the chase. And she's probably doing damage control. And I'm sorry. I have to tell you guys all this stuff because I feel like it's all important and you need to know. So I apologize if it's taking a long time. We got probably 15 to 30 minutes left. And if you got to go, you can catch the replay. But anyways, let's talk about how we bring all of this together now and make boatloads of money, impacting people, changing people's lives, setting ourselves free. And once we're free, we pay it forward to those of you who aren't free yet. And that is the most fulfilling type of business, because you literally are making an impact. And the more you help other people get what they want, you get what you want. I can't think of a better thing to dedicate my career to and my life to than this. Seriously, I mean that with all of my heart. So let's talk about Enagic for a second. It's a global offer and you have lifetime distribution rights. Why is that important? Really simply, you invest in these products for your health, for your family, one time. And once you do that, the machine lasts 15, 20, 25, 30 years as an example. So that's a really, really good track record for any sort of technology in terms of longevity and value, right? But you also unlock the ability to have global distribution rights for life. So for the rest of your life, at any point, if you take a break, you come back, doesn't matter, you have this business forever. And once you build it to a big business, like many of you are going to, you can will it to your children, you can will it to whoever you want, you can put it in a trust. There's a lot of really cool things you can do as your income scales here. So this in and of itself, incredible. Next piece, zero attrition, permanent ranking. Now, this is in the network marketing profession and industry, but it's actually a direct sales company that has some benefits of the MLM model, even though it isn't that, just to clarify. And so why this is important is once you buy the product, you can never lose your rank. You can never lose your sales. You can never lose your efforts. You are permanently there and you can only ever go up to the next level. You cannot go backwards, which means that some of you who may take a slower approach for whatever reason, not right or wrong, you just have a longer time horizon for getting success and getting results. You can take your time at your own pace. You never get penalized for going slowly. As long as you stay in the game or as long as you come back to the game, you just continue where you left off. It's really, really powerful. No auto ship or additional cost to participate in the compensation plan. You buy the product, you're in, that's it, real simple. You can use other people's money to start your business. This is the only opportunity of its kind because it's a physical product. Now, depending on what country you live in, there's different criteria for getting financing from a bank or credit cards or those kinds of things. But in most cases, there is a creative way for you to get some form of financing, leveraging other people's money from a bank, whatever the case may be, or possibly borrowing it from family or friends if you need it to start. But you can leverage other people's money, make a boatload of money, then pay people back. It's amazing. There's also high ticket commissions in depth. So not only am I going to show you how you can make a huge sum of money, even if you didn't build a sales organization and it was just you were running this as an automated high ticket offer on the internet, you could make boatloads of money. But if you develop a business, which kind of happens automatically because people see the vision, they see the opportunity, they want to get their own little piece of it as well, you're going to get high ticket commissions based on their sales also. Now, my first experience with override commissions was when I did door-to-door sales. And what happened was we would sell internet and TV door-to-door, and we would get paid $30 for internet, $30 for TV. But the company, the owner, who was like my boss, he got paid $100 for each of those products. So he got 200 and he paid out 60. He had 140 left over, right? Pretty good for him. He didn't even have to knock the doors. And then he started paying me as a manager $5 off of each of my team sales. And then when I ran my own office, I got $15 on everybody's sales. So here I was sitting in my office and like building the sales team and bringing on new people. And they'd all go out there, 30, 40, 50 people at a time, make a bunch of sales, come back. And I'd be like $15, $15, $15, $15. I'd be like, whoa, like it was so hard for me to wrap my mind around this. I'm like, this is unbelievable. But I was being compensated based on the sales training I was teaching these people in the morning. They went out into the field, knocked the doors, made the sales, and I got compensated for that as a manager. Imagine that in the thousands of dollars. Imagine that where you bring on somebody in Australia and you bring on someone in Germany and you bring on someone in Los Angeles and you bring on someone in Mexico and they go build businesses and you're getting checks for $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 around the planet from this opportunity. Just put your mindset to what that would look like and how that would change your life. All right. There's only 2 million machines sold so far in the world, which means next to no market penetration. And Enagic did $1 billion in sales in 2022 last year with a 20% year-over-year growth since COVID-19. Is that impressive or is that impressive? Remember, this is a hand-assembled medical device put together in a medical facility in Japan that was shipped all over the world, and we grew 20% year over year and did over $1 billion in sales last year. What? How good is that, right? So let's talk about the commission structure real fast. Are you guys getting value so far? Let me know in the comments right now. If you're getting value, if this makes sense, if you're learning something new, if you can see yourself absolutely doing this with us and crushing this, let me know in the comments, please. So I'm going to break this down. Sometimes it could be a little bit like confusing for people that are seeing it for the first time. So if it's a little bit confusing, that's okay. Don't worry about it. You can get back to the person that invited you on this call today, and they'll help you understand it and they'll break it down and clarify it for you. All right. But I'm going to go over this fairly quickly just so you have an idea. It's an 8-point commission payout per product sold. And this particular compensation plan is patented. And how it works is every time there's a product sold, 8 equal commission checks get distributed and paid out. All right. So that's just for the K8 machine that we showed earlier. You would get $340 per point, and there's 8 points paid out. Now, if you're selling the trifecta package, which is actually the most common way people get started with Enagic, because all 3 of those products are necessary and they're amazing. And earlier, you all agreed that it was a no-brainer to have all 3 of them, right? So you put yes in the chat. So let's assume that everybody starts with the trifecta, including yourself. This is what the commissions would look like, is there would be 8 equal checks paid out in $1,110. Now, for those of you that are international, these are US dollar-based commissions. So they're actually more in places like Australia, certain parts of the world. The commissions are higher. It's just in the local currency, okay? So don't let that distract you. All of this stuff converts and is pretty much equal. It's just with the Forex currency exchange, they're slightly different numbers. So let's do this hypothetical example. And by the way, I got to have some of this. Oh, it's at 9.5. So good. All right. So let's say you get started with a single product and you make your first 2 sales. You're going to get 1 point out of the 8 points. In this case, it's 340, right? Like someone said in the chat, it's 365 in Australia, whatever. It's not the point. The point is I want you to understand the power of this business model. So imagine you knew on day 1 when you would get a promotion. How many of you got a job in corporate America or a regular job, and on day 1, your boss told you, do this and you get promoted and you make this much more money. Do this and you get this much more money. That doesn't happen, right? There's politics, there's favoritism, there's all kinds of bullshit, and they drag it on and on and on and on and on before they ever give you a raise. And then when they do give you a raise, it's like some pathetic amount, like $1.50 or $2 an hour. And you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Right? Here on day 1, we actually tell you up front, you put in your first 2 sales, you get 1 point out of the 8. On your 3rd sale, you get 2 points out of the 8, which in this case would be $680. On your 11th sale, you get another promotion automatically. No politics, no bullshit. You do the sales, you get the promotion. Simple as that. 3A, 3 points. 3A just stands for 3-point associate. So that's why it's abbreviated. On your 11th, you're already making $1,000 for a single K8 sale. On your 21st sale, $1,360, 51st sale, $1,700, over 101 sales, $2,040. Now, here's what's so cool about this. You technically only need to do the sales yourself on the promotional sale. So in this example, you've only placed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sales yourself to get those promotions. And the gray dots that you see underneath are people making sales in their own businesses just like you. And you get the override commission. So as a team effort with a sales organization, you could advance to something like a 6A rank by putting in anywhere from 5 to 15 direct sales, and the remaining sales out of the 100 came from your group. That's actually very common that you're not placing that crazy amount of direct sales in a lot of cases. But here's the part that's really exciting when I mentioned high ticket commissions in depth. is that those gray dots that you see straight down on the 1A all represent a check that you would receive for $340. Okay. So you're not doing any of this and you're getting a check for 340, 340, 340, 340, 340, all of those dots straight down, sale, 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 sale. Okay. Pretty fascinating, right? But look at 2A. You would get $680 on the direct sale that you made with your efforts, your marketing, etc. But then that person goes, I really want to do this too. Like, I want to set my family free as well. I want to go through the training. I want to post ads. I want to do the marketing, etc. They go start making sales. They would receive 340, 340, 340 on their first few sales, and you would get 680, 680, 680. As long as those 8 points are still, it's still within the 8 points, and it's not 9, 10, 11 points, which obviously would break the company. But if it's within the 8 points, you get your commission. The person who makes the sale gets their portion of the 8 points first, and the remaining points go up to the people or person above them until all 8 points were paid out. And you get the amount based on the lane that sale took place. And once again, if this is confusing for you and it's a little bit over your head, it makes way more sense when the money is being deposited into your bank account and then you figure it out after. You're like, wow, that's pretty fascinating. I actually figured out this compensation plan about 10 years ago by being paid first. I would get the check and I go, how did I get $1,000? And then I'd like go reference it with my team. I'd be like, who made a sale, guys? I'd call people. I'm like, did you make a sale? He's like, yeah, I sold it to whatever. I'm like, thanks for the $1,000, man. That's fucking crazy. So I figured out this business after I made the money, not before. So if you don't understand it, don't let that scare you. We'll teach you, you make the money, and trust me, the compensation plan will make a lot of sense when that money is going into your bank account. All right. So after you hit 6A, which is 101 total sales between yourself and your sales organization, you can do it 100% on your own. There are some people that have put in 100 direct sales all by themselves. But the way we've designed the platforms, the trainings, the everything is that it is meant to be like a team effort. Okay. So you can do it either way. But once you do the 6A accomplishment, every other direct sale that you ever make for the rest of your life, you'd get 2,040 on the initial direct sale, and then it goes down in depth from there. And then you start to also make an additional income on the sales that happen below your 8 points, which is a $200 education allowance, which is also really nice as your team gets really large and duplicates and so on. So I want to talk to you about the commissions at each of those levels if you're selling the trifecta, which is the most common way people get started. Okay. So these are based on the US dollar compensation plan. But I want you to ask yourself a really important question right now. What amount of money would you need to earn in this type of business with Enagic, working with us, to no longer need your full-time job? How much do you earn right now in your household or individually per month? Is it $5,000? Is it $10,000? Is it $15,000? Is it $20,000 per month? What's the number for you? All right. So the reason why that's powerful is because then you can look at these commissions over here and you can ask yourself, well, how many sales would I need to put in with only my own efforts, not even the team effort, for me to be able to double my income? Or potentially, if you don't like what you do and you want to have more freedom and walk away from your job, you'd be able to do that. And with these types of commissions, look at this, guys. You literally make $1,300, $1,695, $2,260, $3,390. And these are in US dollars. So it's quite a bit higher in places like Australia, for example. But if you're selling a quad, there's another package that is also very popular where people buy an additional K8 machine. Now, this additional machine could be used for various reasons. You might have multiple kitchens in your home. You might want to give it to your parents who might have some health problems and you want to gift it to them. You might want to use it in a way where you loan it out to people for 30 days. They get to experience the machine, the water in their home, blows their minds. They get amazing results. And then 30 days later, you take the machine back and you say your trial is done. And the close rate on doing that is like 90%. So you could literally sell 12 machines a year, putting this second machine that you purchased in your quad into a different household once per month. And you would literally sell 10 machines a year? Pretty much very easily, just because the people, you put the machine in their home, they use it for cooking, cleaning, all the things. And then you take it away and they go back to tap water, bottled water, the fridge water, whatever they did before the machine. And they're like, what is this? You know what I mean? Their bowels stop working, their sleep is poor, their energy sucks, all the things. And they're like, yeah, they call you up. They're like, so how do I get one of them? So that's a really powerful strategy that people, see the benefits and the value of just having that extra loaner machine. And so the quad is actually a really powerful strategic tool too. So if we sell a quad, look at the commissions that we receive as you progress through the ranks. All right. So now here's the big golden question. How many of you want to know how you can earn $1 million with sales selling the trifecta? How many of you want to know $1 million? Now, the reason we're talking about million is because inflation, right? We're talking about 100 grand. It's not exciting. 100 grand doesn't get you shit these days. So we're going to talk about $1 million, which is the new 100 grand. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I want to be very, very clear. This is not an income claim. This is not a promise or guarantee that you're going to do this. This is just for illustration purposes only, to get you inspired. Because if I saw this, I didn't see this version of this presentation when I started, but had I seen this back 15 years ago, I wouldn't have waited 5 years to start this business. All right. I'll be completely honest. But I didn't see this. I didn't see the big picture. I didn't quite get it. And so I delayed for 5 years. I used the water every day. I loved it. It changed my life, changed my health. All my stomach issues went away, but I didn't take the businesses seriously. So I'm showing this to you to inspire you to take action and let you know that you can do this without building a team. That's the power of this compensation plan. But most likely, you will have a team, a sales team that you build as well. So after you have 40 total product sales, remember a trifecta is 3 products. So this is like 15 people who buy trifectas. It's not a lot of people. After 40 total product sales, we unlock a way for you to earn all 8 points of the commission, which is actually more than the maximum. The maximum the company recommends is 6 points. We'll show you a way to earn all 8 points. Okay. So check this out. At this level, a trifecta pays out $4,060 to you in US dollars. So this is closer to 6,000 in like Australia, for example. $1 million divided by 4,060 is only 246 trifecta sales. This does not take into consideration your team sales, your bonuses, your title incentives, or any other additional income Enagic pays. This is strictly based on your personal production alone. So let me ask you, do you think that if you were focused, if you were dedicated, if you took this seriously, you could learn and develop the skill set that we provide for you, that we teach you to eventually make 246 sales, even if it took you a few years, 3 years, 5 years? Would you care? Do you think that you could learn that if we support you, if we cheer you on, if we give you all the things that you need, right? So let's break this down. Let's say you only wanted 100K. Nothing wrong with that. Check this out. 25 trifecta sales and you make yourself a clean 6 figures, right? Pretty amazing. 62 direct trifecta sales and you make yourself a cool $250,000. 123 trifectas, it's 500K in your piggy bank. And 246 gives you the clean a milli in your bank account. Pretty amazing if you ask me, right? Now, the chances of this happening with you only doing the work and having no leverage and no team support is slim to none. But hypothetically, as a leader, as a salesperson with a sales background before I did this business, I'm the type of guy who wants to know, what do I got to do? I'm not going to bank on nobody else. I'm not going to sit around and wait for someone else to make me $1 million. I'm going to do the work. I'm going to take action. I'm going to learn, right? Because that's what I can control. So I wanted to show this to you as an illustration, as an example. If all you did was did the work yourself, if you learned what you needed to learn how to do, this is what it could possibly look like. All right. But if you sold quads, how many of you guys are excited about the quad? You're like, this makes way more sense. I'm going to have an extra machine. I can lend it out. I can give it to my parents. I can travel with it. You can find another reason to have a spare medical device like the K8, right? It's like pretty incredible. You're like, I might as well have two because one is not enough, you know? So this level pays out $6,100 US. Are you freaking kidding me? For most people, this is enough. One quad sale a month is enough to pay their current expenses as it stands today, right now. That's pretty cool. And maybe if you like to have a nicer lifestyle, 2 sales a month, you're at the 12K mark, you're probably pretty good. You know, some of you I know said earlier, 20K, 30K, fantastic. I'll show you the math right now. 100K is only 16 quad sales. 250K is 41 quad sales. These are all directs, no team, no bonuses, no nothing else. Just your efforts, that's it. 82 quads, 500K, 164 quads, $1 million. Now it's up to you. There are some people that I'm currently speaking to who are influencers, entrepreneurs, marketers, people who have a lot of experience, lots of years of track record. You know what they're talking about? They're like, I can do 164 of these a month. They have the skills, they have the experience, they have the teams, they know how to do the marketing, they know how to do the selling. So that's a higher level, of course, not expecting anybody on this call or majority of you on this call to think this way or to have the access to the knowledge and the skills to do that. But it doesn't matter if you do it in a day, 164 quad sales a day, or if you did it in the next 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years. The point is, this is the numbers. This is the math. Is that pretty exciting or what? Because like, who wants to dink around with these low ticket products, low ticket commissions, bugging friends and family, pissing people off? Who wants to dink around with that in 2023, right? I don't know about you. I don't. You probably don't. So this is the ticket, my friends. This is the legacy business model we promised to show you today. And I hope that we're delivering on that promise. So let's get into some of the thoughts that are probably going through your mind right now, right? You're getting excited. You get the goosebumps. You're all energized. You're having trouble sitting on your seat. You're like, let's go, baby. Let's get started. Let's go. But how? So building an online business has lots of allure, right? It's exciting. You're like, wow, time freedom, location freedom, unlimited income, big houses, fancy cars, dream vacations like Christine Dubai, living it up like a queen, amazing, and Beck too. And so many of you, right? That's just like one example, but we're all doing it. All the leaders are doing stuff like that. But the problem is, most people don't have the experience. You don't have the skills. So there are several steps removed from being able to achieve success online. It feels so close, but you can't quite grab onto it. You know, you're like, it sounds so easy, but I need help. I need support. I need training. We got that for you. We help the everyday ordinary person get the training and support they need and the leverage this particular partnership with the Enagic to set themselves free via online education and marketing academies that range in price, but most of them that are available to you are $99 per month, which also pays out, not always, but a lot of the time, it pays out a 30% per month stream of affiliate income. That's an extra income on top of everything else we talked about as you grow your sales organization. So as you market the platform, the education, people sign up to that for $99 a month and you get $30 a month out of that, which is just, you know, extra grocery money, or you can use it for advertising, whatever you want. It's your money. But it's pretty cool. We actually give you another stream of income just from providing you the education you need to actually be successful in this business. How cool is that, right? You're not left on your own terms. You don't have to go figure it out by yourself. You don't have to have this incredible opportunity in your hands and then go like, so where do I start? Do I go YouTube? Do I go to library? Do I ask my, Uncle Joey? No. We give it to you step-by-step training. It's proven. It's working for so many people. And so as long as you do your part, as long as you do the work, it's just a matter of time before it works for you as well. We truly believe that. So who wants to see the long-term, excuse me, I almost threw up in my mouth. That was really weird. I'm like, who else is that? That's what happens when you've been going hard for like 2 hours straight. All right. So what I was going to say before I had a little moment there was who wants to see why people like Christy and her husband, Clint, and myself and the top leaders and so many people inside this company are never going to leave. We don't want to go anywhere. There's no reason to leave. It just gets better the better it gets here, right? So this is your opportunity to see the long-term potential of planting your flag, learning the skill, really devoting your time, your energy to doing what we do here as well, to unlocking this life that most people today on this planet would not believe is possible for themselves. That's facts. You tell them about this and they kind of don't really fully get it. And then they're like, I don't know. And then they watch from the sidelines and they fit on the left-hand side of the quadrant and they, have all the doubts and the fears and they don't take action. It's not the right time, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, we're over here doing it and we're sharing it with people who are ready to go. So day one, we all start in the same place. This is so important for you to understand. Every single one of us starts day one with the same products in the same exact place in the compensation plan. Nobody skips anything. Nobody gets a fast track head start. Nobody gets a special backdoor deal. We don't operate like that here. And Mr. Ashir, the CEO of this company, would never allow that. You start at the beginning and you take it as far as you go. Simple as that. So after the first 100 product sales in your organization, you achieve a rank called the 6A, top left corner of this chart. And you get a $3,000 one-time title incentive bonus. Super exciting. It's a big milestone to celebrate. $3,000, right? People are like, woohoo, let's go to Mexico or Hawaii or, celebrate. Amazing. Awesome. Then 2 people in your sales organization, or potentially these secondary accounts, are also belonging to you, which is also quite common in terms of strategy. You get another bonus, $6,000. Then you have 2 people who do that inside your sales organization. It could happen anywhere. It doesn't have to be a direct sale that you made. It could be like 10 levels deep where someone told someone to someone to someone to someone, and then someone down there just becomes a massive success. You still benefit from that. It just has to be on different lanes, which is really important. It might be a little confusing, but the point that I'm making is that your success isn't directly correlated with the direct sales that you bring in. If it's their people and their people and their marketing efforts, it's fine. You can still actually hit these ranks with that team element of someone you may have never spoken to, never met before. It's really quite fascinating how powerful this business model is. But the orange is what everybody's looking at, right? So you guys are checking out the orange, and it's orange for a reason, because we talked to you guys about a legacy business model. What does that mean with Enagic? Well, at this rank of 6A2-3, which, varies in timelines. Like some people do that in 3 years. Some people do it in 5 years. I'm sure people are going to do it even sooner than that in the future, because we're improving our systems, we're improving our training, we're improving everything. But even if, let's say hypothetically, it took you 5 years to earn a legacy income of $5,000 per month, $60,000 per year, without having to do anything, because you've already earned it. You've already put in the sales. You've already put in the effort. And this is Enagic's way of paying you this like retirement income. And just to put this into perspective for everybody on this call, in order to receive a $5,000 per month, dividend check from an investment, for example, think about it like this. You would need to have $1 million invested, getting paid 6% per annum, which is very conservative, to get 60 grand per year off the $1 million. So if you don't have a way to save that $1 million in the first place, then how in the hell are you ever going to get a $5,000 monthly check month after month after month after month, right? After 2 people in your organization achieve that, you bump up again and you get a $50,000 one-time bonus and $10,000 monthly for life. What? And it's willable to your children through trusts. It's really, really cool. You go from there to 6A2-5, 15,000 monthly, then 6A2-6, 6A2-7, 6A2-8, which I know sounds like a weird math equation, but it equals money in the bank and it equals legacy. It's all you need to know. And, just to give you an idea, and once again, this is not meant to be an income claim. I'm not meant to brag. I'm not trying to rub this in. I'm just using it as an illustration to inspire you of what's possible. After doing this for 10 years, I've been devoted. I've been doing my best to help other people. This hasn't been something that I just didn't give a shit about. Like, I put in the time, the energy, the effort here for a decade. Okay. So some of you are going to get there sooner. Christy's going to get there sooner. Certain people get there quicker because, as she said at the beginning of this call, I kind of went first in this particular way, made a lot of mistakes, lots of trial and error. So I'm just telling you this because I want you to understand what's possible. So my family, all right, between my wife and I and our positions, We have one account right now that's 6A2-5. We have one account that's 6A2-4. We have one account that's 6A8-3. And we have another account that's 6A2-3. So we have 4 accounts higher than the orange mark there. And the numbers that you see there for the minimum monthly for life, let me tell you, that's based on if your sales are not growing, your team is not really active, there's not much action going on, and it's kind of like the bare minimum, you know. In January, my team had 5,200 sales across the world. The company did 22,000 across the world. So we did, in our organization, the team that you're about to join, we did about 25% of the global sales in my organization, 5,200 sales. Okay. So you can imagine with that type of sales volume, we're not getting paid on those 4 accounts that are higher than 6A2-3. We're not getting paid these numbers. We're getting paid a much bigger number. Okay. And that's not to rub it in. Trust me, I'm telling you this because I want this for you. Okay. I'm sharing this with you because I want you to have this too. It's so important that you understand that, because I want to tell you the numbers, but sometimes people can take it the wrong way. And my wish for you to be on this presentation, spending 2 hours with me, is for you to go, I can fucking do this. I can learn it. This guy can do it with the glasses and the fancy blue lights over there in Vancouver, Canada. I can fucking do it too. That's what I wish for you. And if you believe that, even if you have a little tiny sliver of like, I think I can, I'm here to tell you, after training thousands of people for the last decade, that yes, you fucking can. Because you have everything within yourself to learn this. Okay? It's just showing up day in and day out and chipping away, learning something new, trying something new, moving forward, having a positive attitude, and it's all going to come step by step and fall into place. When I started this business and you would have told me that I'm going to be at this level in 10 years, I would have laughed in your face, because here's why. Okay. This is a very important story. I shared this on my podcast, so go listen to my podcast, all the episodes, but I share this on my podcast as well, where when I did door-to-door sales, my boss was 3 years older than me. I'm actually 37 years old. But back then, I think I was like 27. He was 30. He was a millionaire. He had the nice car. He had the fancy suits. He had like the Rolex watches and all this shit. So he had this like material success that I was wanting, right? And I shared it with him this when I was still knocking doors, or I wasn't knocking doors, but I was still doing that as my career. I shared with him this same presentation, not as good as this one. Obviously, I got 10 years experience now, so it was kind of shitty, but I showed him the same numbers, right? And I'm like excited. I wanted him to work with me, be my business partner. I'm like, come on, man, we can rock this. We can do this together. And because he didn't want me to leave, because I was such a valuable asset to him, because I was doing all the work, I was doing all the heavy lifting. He was off enjoying his millionaire lifestyle, and I was doing all the office stuff, the training, blah, blah, blah. He literally looked me dead in the eyes and he says, Balaj, there's 0% chance that you're going to go sell $400,000 worth of these water machines. You simply will not do it. Do you have any idea how hard it is for you to sell one of these things? And I just looked at him and it was like I died. You know what I mean? Because I respected this guy so much. He was like my idol. He was my mentor. He was everything to me in terms of success. And I just looked at him and I lost my breath and I was like, oh. And he completely, almost this close, made me never even try. Okay? 10 years later, $500 million in sales later. Fuck you, bro. That's all I got to say to that guy. As much as I loved him back then, he almost crushed my dreams. Okay? And so I want you to really remember that story. If you go talk to your spouse, or you go talk to your mom and dad, or you go talk to Uncle Lukey, Joey, whatever his name is, and he tries to do the same thing to you, like my mentor told you, and said, makes fun of this, or says it's stupid, or says it's a scam, or doesn't understand it, please, please be very careful to not listen, because they might be robbing you and stealing your dream. Like this close almost happened to me. And I don't know where what my life would be like today. Seriously. My daughter was born a little over 2 years ago. And one of my dreams was to take time off when I started a family. I took 18 months off. My business grew in the middle of a pandemic. My income grew. Everybody's sales grew, not just mine, like the whole entire community. Everybody was winning. Everybody was prospering. No one was forced to take a medical experiment outside of their own will. unless they wanted to on their own terms, but nobody was forced to lose their job on all that shit. Everybody was self-sufficient. Everybody had freedom. Everyone was good inside my community. You know how proud I am of that? Because the world was really messed up there for a while, wasn't it? Right? And a lot of people got coerced, manipulated, lied to do things they didn't want to do. And here, when you work with us, that shit is not okay and it will never happen. All right? So I just want to share that with you because it's really, really important that you guys get the big picture here. All right. So here's the 3 ways that you can get started. And then I'm going to bring Christy back on here for the final few words. You can make money slow. Some of you are okay with making money slow, and there's nothing wrong with making money slow. If you're still making money, awesome. You can get started with just the machine. You get $0 cash back. Your first sale is $340, and your sales to 6A, you need to sell 101 K8 machines. The price to get this machine in US dollars into your life is $5,000. Now, there are some potential financing options available for you through your bank, through credit card companies, depending on where you live. But I can't tell you those specific numbers because there's lots of variables. Your credit score, your income, what country you're in, there's lots of factors. So get back to the person who invited you here today and find out what those options might potentially look like for you. The make money fast option, which is our most popular option that most people get started with, is the trifecta. You all agreed earlier, it's an absolute no-brainer just for the products alone, never mind the income and the business and the opportunity. So this one is a $10,000 US investment for 3 products. You get $440 cash back immediately because you sell yourself 2 of those products in your own compensation plan, which means that your first actual person that you sell as a business partner or using your online marketing or whatever, doesn't matter, just another person who invests and works with you, is going to pay you $1,110 on that first transaction if they buy a trifecta from you, which is pretty freaking cool. So when you calculate how many sales do I need to make to get an ROI on my $10,000 loan or my $10,000 investment, it's freaking peanuts. Like when you look at a regular traditional business, first of all, they're 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand, $1 million to start other types of businesses, opening a restaurant, a franchise, this, that, and another thing. But what's the amount of sales you need to actually get an ROI? And once you receive the ROI, you literally make ROI for the rest of your life. Just imagine what my ROI is on my $10,000 trifecta that I paid for 10 years ago. And I haven't had to pay shit since. As a one-time investment. I buy some filters and stuff. I keep taking the Ukon supplement because I love it, but I don't have to. And my ROI is like a bajillion percent. It's like, I think the only thing that might be a bigger ROI is like Bitcoin from day 1 to now. But I mean, everything else, I outpaced every other possible asset class in the last 10 years that exists on this planet with this business. That's pretty cool, right? And then the supercharge, this is for the badasses, right? This is for the people who like to go super fast. They like the idea of having a second machine. They like the idea of loaning it out to somebody once a month for 30 days, getting like, anywhere from 8 to 12 sales, pretty much guaranteed a year, all happening behind the scenes while you're doing your online stuff and you're doing whatever. That's a $15,000 investment. You get 2 K8s, 1 Inespa, 1 Ukon. You get $1,120 back. And your first quad sale you make, your first one, I'm not talking like months into the future where you're like, have this high rank and blah, blah, blah. Your very first quad sale that you make at this level, $3,000. 5 of those suckers got your investment back. Isn't that pretty incredible? Like, I don't know of any business that's this lucrative, has this incredible products, and can really change your life and other people's lives and also pay this type of commissions. And that's not even talking about the career path and some of the other things we talked about. Like, this really is as good as it gets, guys. I get pitched business opportunities every single day. I've seen every single offer online, from drop shipping to crypto shit to all the things. And crypto itself isn't shit, but the business opportunities that come with it a lot of the time, those specifically I think are shit. And all this kind of thing. I get pitched for this, pitched for that, pitched for that. I'm like, bro, you can't touch this. You can't touch this. I'm sorry. If I sign you up, I make X. You sign me up, I make what? Exactly. Conversation's over. Join my business. That's kind of how that conversation goes when people pitch me. So it's kind of funny. It's great for me, not great for the person who pitches me. So anyways, I'm going to bring out Christy. We have a special offer for the next 72 hours. Exclusive mentorship for those of you who get started right now, who get back to the person who invited you here today. and basically let them know I'm ready to go. I'm asking myself, how can I? I'm not sure. Maybe I got to do this. Maybe I got to do that. How can I get started? And get back to the person who invited you, and they'll help you figure out that solution. So, Christy, if you're there, pop back out here and let's finish this off real quick.
Hey, legend, thank you so much. Can you see me? Is my video good? Yeah, amazing. Yep. All right, let us know, what was your biggest takeaway? Who is freaking pumped? How amazing was that? Oh my goodness, such an incredible 2 hours, total fire the whole way through. Oh, so good. All right. I have a couple of things to talk about, because we obviously want to share some giveaways. We want to share about the 72-hour bonus and all of the things. And I just want to mention, before we kind of go into those things, we are going to bring out a couple of people that are in this community, so you can meet a few others as well, that are just going to really briefly, quickly just share where they were at and where they're at now, thanks to this business model. So you can see that it's not just Balazs and I talking about this. But for myself and my husband, Clint, we also have 4 legacy positions that we've grown over the last 5.5 years. And so we actually teach you a method and a strategy to not just have one of those legacy positions, but 3 to 6 of those positions. All right. So you're maximizing your commission in every single way possible. And as Balazs said, that is just the minimum. And what he has shown you is also in US dollars. So for us in Australia, it's, it's obviously more in terms of the Australian currency, but we have 4 of those positions. So that is why we don't have to work ever again if we don't want to. And this is what we're really passionate about, is supporting so many of this next generation of leaders to achieve that legacy income goal. Now, Balazs mentioned there's a lot of different ways to get started with this. So your next best thing is to reach out to the person who brought you to this presentation today. And if you're sitting there right now discounting yourself and being like, oh, I can't get started on that, I can't afford it. Trust me, I was in that situation. I had $0. I had the brokest mindset. Like, people come to me and say they've got bad money mindset. I'm like, mine was like so bad. I could never get my bank account more than $1,000. I'm just going to make sure you guys can properly see me and be. I could never get my account more than $1,000. I did not have the money at all in my account to do this. Like, it didn't make any sense logically. And there is always a way. I didn't have good credit either. And there is always a way. And so if you're sitting there right now being like, oh, well, that's great, I could get finance, but I don't have good credit, there is a way for you. There is an option for you. There is an option for literally every single person to do this. Okay. So, yes. So I just want to really make that very, very clear, right? As somebody who was in that situation, there was a way. And same with my husband. He was not in a great, he was at 31, he was living with his mum at the time, borrowing money off her and on Centrelink when he got started with this business. And again, there is always a way. Okay. So you're going to reach out to the person who brought you here. We do have a 72-hour bonus. And what this means is that if you do get started in the next 72 hours, you are going to receive a mentorship from those that have reached legacy in this business, okay, or are very close to the legacy point of this business. And we are going to support you over 30 days to actually get your business set up. Okay, so you're receiving this from people who have created multiple millions with this exact model, that are going to be supporting you and mentoring you for that first 30 days for free as a result of you getting started with this business. Now, I did not have this when we got started. We didn't have 30-day mentorships. We didn't have this type of thing, back in the day. Very, very glad I had Clint and Balazs's support, but there wasn't these kind of things around back then. And so you're coming at a time where we've been doing this for years and years and years, and we know what works, and we can actually support you to make sure that you get the best start possible in your first 30 days. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out a few ladies now, and then we're going to wrap up with the giveaways. We have got a $100 giveaway. We've got a $200 giveaway, and we've got a $250 giveaway for some of the people that have been playing full out into the chat box. So congratulating you guys for everyone who's really shown up over these last 2 hours and been playing full out. But what I'm going to do first and foremost is I'm going to bring out the few ladies. So first of all, I will be bringing out Carmen. So Carmen, I'm going to make you a panelist, lovely lady, and you're going to come out and just share a couple of words. Carmen's been in our community for the last, I think, 4 years it is, and she's completely shifted her life. Very, very inspiring woman, has bought the property of her dream. single lady buying the property of her dream in a time where it doesn't make sense in the real estate, market with interest rises. And thanks to this business model, she's been able to do that. So I'm going to get her to share in her own words, her story. So I can share that. And then we'll bring on a couple of others. Thanks, Carmen.
Thank you. And I got started in this space 4.5 years ago. I was sitting on the other side of the fence and watched a similar webinar. And I'm a horsey chick, as Christy said. I was out teaching horsemanship clinics, driving on the road for 6 to 9 months of the year, living out of my horse trailer, and I had a house to be able to pay rent of as well. I struggled to pay $200 a week rent. I struggled to put food on the table for myself and my horses. Like Christy said, I'm a single woman. I tried to apply for 3 part-time jobs at our local grocery store, which is Coles, and I got knocked back 3 times. I couldn't even get a job stacking shelves at a grocery store. So my confidence was at an all-time low, and I just didn't know how else I would actually be able to create more income. And I'd seen a post, and I've gone and watched a webinar just like this one that you guys watched, and been able to back myself and get started. Like Christy said, there is a way for every single one of you that desire to get started. I had no money to be able to scratch myself with, but I actually found a way out of no way. Like Balazs talked about those different mindsets, and I asked the question of how can I get started? And I dived in, and it has been the most life-changing, best opportunity for me. I've been able to purchase my own dream property. I moved in, it's 96 acres. I've got cows and horses and all the outdoor stuff that I love to be able to do. But the education in learning how to do this business is where it's at. I had no clue how to have an online business, no clue how to be able to create 6-figure months for myself, 6-figure incomes. And by being able to step into this space and learn a new skill set for myself, my whole world has changed. And since I've moved in, we've had 6 interest rate rises. Price of everything is going up, fuel, food, everything. And I've been able to continue to thrive in this time because of my online business, because of the decisions that I made. You get to be able to step into this for yourself too. You get to be able to go and provide this for yourself and for your family, but it starts with you being able to try. It starts with you putting one foot in front of the other. And hand on heart, it has been the best decision that I've ever made in my life. So big thanks to Balazs and Christy for all their mentorships. It's been life-changing for me, and I look forward to seeing you guys in on the other side.
Thank you so much, Carmen. Thanks, lovely lady. Okay. I'm going to bring out Danny Kay, who's a very close dear friend of mine and has also drastically changed her life over the last couple of years, thank you to this model. So Danny's coming in as a panelist, and she's going to share a couple of words from her end.
Hey, thank you so much, Christy. Oh my gosh, guys, how good was Balazs's presentation and Carmen's incredible testimonial? Let me know in the comments box if you're excited, guys, because, oh my God, talk about incredible energy. So guys, my name is Danielle, and I do this business alongside my amazing hubby, Dan. I used to be a personal trainer, and we discovered this when we were both feeling totally burnt out, exhausted, and not really getting ahead financially. We were also pushing a low ticket product on the side, like only earning $20 to $50 per sale. And this came with constant hustling, explaining, training, coffee shop meetings, all the things just to maintain our rank and that small commission each month. So after 4 years of constant hustling, we were so over it. We found we were spending more time, away from our family, doing all these presentations and all these late night events to build this low ticket business, which went against all of our values, as the main reason we're building this business on the side was to get more time freedom with our family and, of course, the income to enjoy our time together. So when we came across this community, it was a total game changer. Being a PT at this time, I knew so much on nutrition, how to train my body, recover from workouts, all that stuff, but I was never educated on water. And I was so blown away once I learned how toxic bottled water and tap water is. Like, it makes sense. If you want to perform at your ultimate state, you need to fuel your body with the best water available, right? It's like having a hot Ferrari and you put cheap, dirty fuel in it. Same principle applies to your body. So purchasing these machines were a no-brainer for us. We didn't want to drink that nasty tap water ever again, so we couldn't wait to all these products, and we got started with a supercharged quad, as Balazs calls it. But it was really when we got the understanding of this next level business model that we got really excited. Like the compensation plan is insane, guys, as Balazs has covered today. The uncapped earning potential is totally incredible. Never being able to de-rank is the bomb. And doing this with attraction marketing was so refreshing to all used to for so many years in a low ticket business. And guys, we felt truly alive again. Within 12 months of this opportunity, I was able to close my PT business thanks to the incredible money we've been able to generate. We were able to get ahead with our finances, pay off a heap of debt, and just last year, we've been able to buy a beautiful new home with the most stunning 180-degree $1 million view. But you know, what's truly special is this community, guys. Dan and I have made some of the closest friends online through this epic business model, and it feels so good now being able to help so many people globally with not only their health, but with their wealth as well, with the time freedom to match it, thanks to what you've been shown today. So if you're excited, guys, let us know in the chat because we're excited for you. What we have here is truly incredible. And both Dan and I are so grateful we said yes to this amazing product and business model as it's truly changed absolutely everything for us. Thank you so much, Christy and Balazs.
Thanks so much, Danny. You're a legend. Love you so much. Thank you. And to finish things off, I'm going to bring out Magdalena. So Magdalena is such a beautiful dear friend of mine. She lives in Bali and she's actually just spent a couple of months in India, really, you know, doing health retreats and all sorts of amazing things, and you know, being able to focus this time on herself and getting paid in the background thanks to this model. So I'm going to bring out Magdalena. If you could pop your video on, please, babe.
Here I am.
Hello.
Hi, thank you so much for bringing me out. Thank you for all of this. I'm so excited. I'm watching the chat blow up and this is just all so exciting. I love being part of this community. So for me, about a little over 3 years ago, just before COVID, I found myself sleeping on a friend's couch in Mexico without 2 pesos to rub together. I have been trying to be a traveling yoga teacher and I was successfully teaching yoga around the world. However, it wasn't sustainable. And I had been a serial entrepreneur. I had tried retail. I was a fashion designer. I was a photographer. I tried so many business models. I tried, naturally a teacher. So I started making e-courses. Oh, this is going to be it. Well, maybe I teach yoga online. This is going to be it. Or maybe I make a membership model. I tried all the things and it was like always throwing spaghetti against the wall. And it wasn't working. There I was, still broke on my friend's couch. I had the time freedom. I had the location freedom, but I didn't have the financial freedom. So I really said a prayer to the universe, like, show me aligned ways to make money. I know I have gifts to share with the world, but I can't figure it out. I couldn't get a job either. Just like Carmen said, like I wasn't hireable because I am not meant to work for someone else. I am not meant to be in the matrix. So I am at heart a freedompreneur. So when I found this business model, I said that prayer, and sure enough, next day I saw a post from a friend of mine talking about how excited she was about her business. And I reached out and she sent me a masterclass a lot like this. And by the end of it, I was like, this is it. This is my answered prayer. This is what I've been looking for. And I found a way out of no way. I told you I was broke on my friend's couch, but when I knew that I had found the golden ticket to my total freedom lifestyle, I found a way to make it happen. And thank God I did, because here I am just a little over 3 years later. And as Christy says, I just got back last night to Bali, where I live now. And I was 2 months in India focusing on my healing journey. And you know what? One sale that came through on automation while I was there paid for my entire trip. And I made many more sales while I was there. And I was mostly offline. I work on my phone in pockets of my time. And I get to mentor my tribe, which is something that I really love. It's very fulfilling to be able to help people change their lives. So I am a massive advocate for ditching the matrix and living a total freedom lifestyle. That means time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, and very importantly, inner freedom, where you wake up every day feeling like you are delivering your gifts and on purpose and helping other people, because the money is freaking awesome. And I'll tell you, this year, I'm going to start my first legacy project. I'm about to buy my land here in Bali and build a massive temple where I can continue teaching and inspiring people. And this works if you work it. You do need to show up for it to work. It's not going to just run by itself. But if you are really ready to change your life and make the effort, this is your golden ticket to freedom. Boom. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. Thank you so much, beautiful woman. So good to see you and have you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Amazing. All right, guys, we are going to wrap things up. I do have a couple of cash giveaways, so let's do those because that's always fun, isn't it? To just, randomly win some cash. I mean, how great. So I have got a little bit of a list here. Our first cash prize for $100 goes to Kim Pilgrim. So massive congratulations to Kim Pilgrim. My team will email you and sort that out for you. The second cash prize is a $200 prize to Autumn McNeil. So massive congratulations to Autumn. And the $250 cash prize is to Katie Woodbury. So amazing. Our team will be in touch so they can organize all of that for you. And as I mentioned, please do go back to the person who invited you here so they can get you started and figure out what's going to be best for you in terms of how we can get you started in a way that's going to suit you best. And what I really want to leave with is really you guys really thinking about this from the return on investment. People that become successful in terms of growing wealth or think in terms of return on investment, right? And so there's really two big parts of the return on investment of this. Number one is the product alone. Even if you were to make no money in this at all, you would literally have a return on investment of over $100,000 US because the machine has 63 ways to actually utilize the water, and you can you can have a whole toxic-free eco sanctuary basically in your home by replacing all of your products. So number one is you're going to have a huge return on investment of that. Number two is the return on investment of the actual business side, right? By purchasing a product or products, you receive a business basically for free. So to have a think about what is the worst that could happen, but the worst that could happen is you never made any money from this, right? If you never took any action and you never did anything, but just drunk the water, the return on investment is huge. If you start to make money from this, the return on investment is huge, as you've seen today. So really think about this from a place of what is the ROI here? What is the absolute best that could happen? Okay. Because the best that can happen is in 6 months, a year's time, you might be in the end of December and looking back at 2023, and this is the year that your life completely changed. The trajectory of your life shifted, just like mine did, just like Clint's did when we got started and did our first 90 days. At the end of the 90 days, our life was very, very, very different to where we were at the start of that 90 days. And things can change really rapidly, but nothing changes if nothing changes. So it's going to come down to you guys really being willing to make that change. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I know we've been on here for a while, but it was all incredible stuff. So awesome to be with you guys today. Thank you so much, Balazs, Carmen, Magdalena, and Danny for joining. And Balazs for all your incredible fire and all of your humor and all of your value and all of the things. It's been such a pleasure being with you guys today, and we can't wait to welcome you in the community and to be really kickstarting this mentorship with everybody that does get started in the next 72 hours. Thank you so much.